I did hit. Oh, yeah, we be live. That took a while. Hi, everyone. We are live.
Hello.
We're gonna be covering the news, um, on atheism, religion, sometimes politics and culture, but mostly atheism and religion, right? And today, how's the news today, Susanna? Is it mostly good news, bad news, funny news? Is it like what?
It's
What's the vibe?
not great.
It's not great. Okay.
It's not great.
And
It's
no.
not
Okay.
not all of it is the worst. In general,
Mhm.
it's not great.
Okay. All right. We already got a donation from somebody. Mustafa just
Yes,
donated.
Mustafa donated $5. Thank you so much,
Wow.
Mustafa.
We haven't even started and people are donating. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Music. Oh,
Mustafa
good.
is saying that he's super sick and is asking for that Christian guy or the right wing Hindus to pray for his sickness to be over.
Do
So,
Hindu
for the
guys
sake
do
of
that?
his donation, I am amplifying that message to extend your hands in prayer for Mustafa, your local atheist.
These here. All right. Okay. Cool. So we should.
Darudustan Aziz.
Du- Durud is high in Persian, so that's what Susanna is Susanna is learning Persian, which is amazing. She's good. Okay, so I don't. Yeah. All right. So can
Farsi.
we?
Kheli Asune.
Wow. Okay. How did you learn? Okay. She
But
just
the
said. Yeah.
Kheli, Sak.
Okay. Okay. So she just said Persian is very easy to learn, but pronouncing the sound khe is very difficult. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we should get started.
Yes.
Let me share my screen. Oh, that shares audio system. All right. So, oh, nope, not like that. One more time. Can we? Do you think we can clap for the first news? No, probably YouTube could think like. I think for the sake of, I don't. Nobody died, but I think YouTube might get a. If we clap for this, YouTube might think like we're like cheering it on or something. How about we clap for it unenthusiastically?
Okay.
All right. Next. No. First news.
First news. Violence. I can't read. I have dyslexia. First news. Riots erupt in Sweden over plans to burn Quran at far-right rally. Recently, Stramkurs, which is Swedish, I guess, for hardline, an anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim political party, organized rallies in Sweden, leading to violent riots injuring more than 40 people. Rasmus Paludan, the group's leader, a Danish-Swedish politician, said they have burned a copy of the Quran and plan on doing it again. The group carried out similar acts of burning the Quran in 2020 in the city of Malmö, as well as in the Muslim-dominated area of Rinkeby. The Muslim-majority countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq condemned the incident and called for Sweden to act quickly. The Foreign Ministry of Turkey called the incident vile attacks against the Quran. Anders Thornberg, the chief of Sweden's national police, stated the riots started on April 15th in the cities of Rinkeby, Örebro, Norrköping, and Linköping. Riots continued in Norrköping and Linköping until April 17th. A police spokesperson said 26 police officers and 14 other individuals were injured in the riots. Dozens of individuals were arrested related to the violence and destruction of property.
And yeah, okay. So I'm watching Cars on Fire, right? Is
Yes.
that who did that? Is this like these far right people burned a car?
No, this is the Muslim population rioting
Oh,
in
in
protest of.
response?
Yes.
Wait. So people. So how come everybody's talking about the Quran being burned and nobody's talking about? Well, not that many people are talking about these cars being burned. Isn't that a higher priority to avoid?
Yes.
Mm.
I would agree.
Wait, so okay, so I don't agree with these far right people, okay, because they are. I mean, I don't have any problem with burning the Quran if it's done in a safe environment and you don't like
Mhm.
cause any hazard to anybody, right? But I'm pretty sure these well, I mean, these far right loons, right? Their agenda is different than ours, right? Like these
Well,
people
here's
are
the thing.
bigots. But
So this it's a sticky situation. Okay, so this guy, I've watched like short documentaries about him, and he intentionally goes to Muslim dominated areas or Muslim neighborhoods and
yeah,
will go play like catch with the Quran, just go throw it around, sometimes even like throwing around a Quran that's like covered in bacon. I don't know how they managed to do that, but they wrap the Quran in bacon and then play catch with it purposefully in neighborhoods in parks where they know that there will be high concentrations of Muslims who will be exposed to this and see this in the public space, even though they may not necessarily want to be exposed to that kind of thing. And it's a tricky situation because Sweden also has a lot of anti-hate speech laws and a lot of laws that are
cringe.
against incitement um, to a community. And many people, I think, would rightly consider a lot of what he does to fall within that area of the penal code. But he is actively protected by the police. Not that he should not be protected by the police, but people are arguing, well, this seems to be breaking areas of your penal code regarding hate speech and incitement of communities or gross incitement. And but they're protecting him on, the Muslim YouTubers I watch are like, but they're protecting him under so-called free expression. You're breaking
Okay,
your own laws to protect him under so-called freedom of expression. So it's but here's what I was thinking about was I remember when this happened 2 years ago in 2020, we covered it. And unfortunately, this is exactly the reaction that this guy wants to get out of the Muslim population because his
mm,
agenda is to show that the Muslim immigrants that have come to Sweden from around the world, but I believe many of them from Syria, his agenda is to show that they are antithetical and dangerous to the Swedish or Danish way of life, their civilization itself, right? And so basically, it is in his interest to incite these communities to riot and start burning down cities and injuring police officers. Um, like this is what he wants because when his his group is doing this to get a reaction. Like let's be completely clear, it is to do that. But
the
when
mission
it is
successful, right?
and yeah, so they're playing exactly into his hands because he is trying to show basically he's an anti-Muslim bigot. Like I'm not just throwing that around. He patently is. He's trying to show
Mm,
that I mean, he's the stuff he says about Muslims. Like he's trying to
yeah,
show that they should not be in this country because look at how they behave. They're
yeah.
uncivilized. This YouTube, this is not what I believe.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
not saying it. Okay, guys, YouTube, we're not saying any of these views. We're describing what certain bigoted people believe. Okay, this is not our views. Okay, so please do not strike us down. Um, I have burned the Quran. Okay, and these people have burned the Quran.
I have
But the
licked the
main
Quran.
yes, we have, yeah, we have done a whole bunch of desecrations on the Quran on this channel. Okay, the difference between how we do it and how they do it is they purposefully go to Muslim areas where it's unavoidable for a Muslim to see it. So we believe in freedom of expression. We believe like there's nothing wrong with desecrating the Quran, but there is something wrong with forcing your content upon your expression or content upon people who don't want to see it, right? So when I desecrate the Quran, I'm doing it because I'm trying to break taboos, and I'm also trying to break barriers for freedom of expression. I'm trying to say like people don't get to draw red lines around us and tell us how we get to express ourselves. However, this is not being forced upon somebody who doesn't want to see it because, like for example, the video that I have of burning the Quran clearly says that this is going to be a video about burning the Quran. So anybody who watches it is clicking on it, right? We think like it's fine if you don't want to see a type of content, but the responsibility of you not seeing it is on you not to click on it. It's not on me not to make that content. So we're just making it clear where their responsibility lies. Like you can't say like you can say I don't like it, so I'm not going to watch it. That's totally fine. But you can't say I don't like it, so don't make it. That is not okay, right? But what these far right bigots are doing when they're burning their Quran or like I don't know playing with bacon or whatever is they're going to Muslim areas or in front of a mosque and they're basically forcing Muslims to see it, right? Like it's unavoidable. They cannot not see it, right? That's not okay. You should not be doing that. That's like that's basically harassment. Um, However, as bad as that is, I'm pretty sure burning property like a car is a lot worse, right? Especially if the Quran that you burn, like, okay, if you burn someone else's Quran, that's a crime. If you burn your own Quran, well, I mean, by the way, a lot of people are complaining about like, oh my god, carbon emissions and stuff. Go watch my Quran burning video. I actually donated to offset. I donated to offset my like 1 ton of carbon emissions. Okay, carbon footprint. That's what I did. So the amount of carbons that I produced to our environment was way smaller. So my Quran burning video is perfect. Like I have covered everything to show how this is not harmful to anybody. Even when it comes to carbon emissions, I donated and I showed my proof of donation to show that I offsetted the carbon emissions that I'm doing from this Quran burning. It's a perfect video. Just search for why I burned the Quran, Armin Navabi. You'll see that video. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but that is nothing. Like, look at how everybody's talking about this incident. Everybody's talking about the Quran burning. I'm watching a video of a car being burned down. Like, seriously, what is more important? This car, who's someone's property being burned down, or a piece of paper? Anyway.
Well, what's interesting is that this hardliner guy, this far right guy, didn't even end up going to do this rally. And riots still broke out across several cities nonetheless. And he said that he didn't go because he was like, the police don't have the ability to protect me or even themselves. Therefore, I'm not even going to go do this. Like, so I feel like this whole situation completely played in his hands and played in his favor in terms of the narrative that he's building. Like, look at how far law and order has devolved in Sweden. The police can't even protect themselves from this. Like, um, it's a bad situation all around. And it's also complicated by the fact I'm not familiar with the Swedish penal code in any form, but I think this contention with all these hate speech laws versus freedom of speech in the country is something that does need to be addressed and looked at seriously, because there could be very like strong hypocrisy there. Wait, there were some good comments in the live chat. So Forever Stormy is on Twitch. Guys, go follow us on Twitch. She is saying this is being used in Hindutva circles to tell everyone that this is what Muslims do if you show them any tolerance. So, like I said, not only is this playing in the favor into the hands of the narrative of the far right in Sweden, it's also playing into the narrative of the far right in India. Wonderful. No Name, who is Swedish, commented and said, criminal gangs jumped in on the rioting bandwagon. We just don't know how many just yet, though. So, again, this isn't verified, but something to think about. Maybe it wasn't even all Muslim population that was involved in this rioting, just other people jumped in and took advantage of the situation to cause destruction. I hadn't thought about that, but it's worth considering.
Either way, whoever did the car burning, that should be a higher priority. That should be a higher concern than the Quran burning.
Oh, I mean, and there was a lot more than just car burning. There was a lot of chaos. And Forever Stormy is saying, no excuses for the rioting, though. I can totally understand if they launch a mass protest, but not rioting. Yeah, that'd be totally fair.
Yeah, and for whoever wants to say that MLK said riots are the what language of the unheard? Is that what he said?
Of the oppressed.
Of the oppressed. He wasn't excusing it. Okay, if you actually listen to everything he says, he actually doesn't see it as a good thing. He just says it's inevitable, but he wasn't endorsing it. So don't take MLK out of context.
Oh, Bubble is here, and Bubble is saying, ironically, China lashed out at Sweden for not protecting the beliefs of Muslims. Are you kidding me?
What? What are you? Oh my
Wait, Bubble, you have to be. You're pulling my leg,
no!
aren't you? You're
Are you
making.
sure? Are you serious?
Huh?
Hey, yeah, don't hurt
Okay?
their feelings, but put them in concentration camps by the millions. Unbelievable.
Okay.
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 Yeah, yeah.
In
By the way,
today's dose of irony,
I do want to ask, like, some
people are saying Bubble isn't kidding. That actually happened.
unbelievable.
Holy crap.
No, I do want to ask, like, this should make some Muslims who are offended by Quran burning think, right? What do you care about the most, right? I mean, what is more important? Genuinely, what's more important, right? Do, it- like, look. This China example should be used as an example. Like, is this the standard that you want? Do you want people to respect your beliefs and violate your rights, or would you prefer people like us who don't respect your beliefs at all, but want to respect your rights? What is which one is a better alternative? I know you don't like us disrespecting your beliefs, okay? But I think, like, you should see value. I mean, okay, to be honest, if you want to be really Islamic, technically you should value your beliefs more than your life on earth, right? But I do think that more Muslims would appreciate the fact that as atheists who don't believe in an afterlife, who don't believe in Islam, we are the reason behind why we are prioritizing your well-being and protecting your rights rather than protecting your beliefs. Okay, like,
Mm.
even if you don't agree with us, even if you think your beliefs are more important than your rights, can you at least try to put yourselves in our shoes and see why, for us, your rights and your well-being and your freedom and your prosperity for us matters more than protecting your beliefs. Like, try to sympathize with our position based on our philosophy, based on our worldview, even if you think it's wrong.
Yeah, I think that was very well put. And it's interesting because I was watching different like YouTube Dawa guys talk about this, and this Smile to Jannah guy, he was talking about like, oh, if you think you're trying to destroy our faith, because Judaism and Christianity is like a very textual, I can't remember the word he used, but it's a very textually based faith, whereas Islam is in many ways an oral tradition. So he's like, you can't destroy our faith. Like, people memorize the Quran. You can't get rid of this. So I thought that was kind of funny. I haven't heard that perspective from a Dawa guy before regarding these desecrations, because usually they're very like gung ho and fire and brimstone about it. But this guy, he was instead like, well, good luck trying. Like, we pass this knowledge down through chains of narration. Like, you're not gonna get rid of this. You're just trying to disrespect us. Which, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, no, but people are like, you can't get rid of the Quran, okay? Don't worry, the Quran will stay, okay? Don't worry about it. Like, even it's not just because it's an oral tradition, it's on the internet, okay? No amount of burning the Quran will ever be able to remove it. Okay, somebody put that thing on the blockchain, and then nobody has to worry about it anymore. It's uh,
Oh my gosh. Wait, this is a funny comment from No Name saying, as sad as these news are, Susanna butchering the Swedish language was entertaining. Well, I'm glad that made it worth it.
yeah, yeah.
Oxymoron saying, I used to believe in a similar kind of freedom of speech like this Swedish dude, just on both sides. Are you referring to the Swedish far right guy?
No,
Now
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not so sure. You can't have dry, clinically philosophical dry laws replacing collective psychology.
Okay, we'll find wet ones. Um,
Shut up.
I don't know. Bubble, Bubble is saying,
Oh my god.
Well, Omar did burn the Quran, didn't he? not the okay. According to Muslims, he burned the false Qurans, not the real ones. Okay,
Mm.
and also there are some beliefs that I mean, technically, if you even if he did burn the false Qurans did have some of the proper verses in them. So he did burn papers with Allah names on it and like proper Quranic verses on it. So he did do that. Also, I think like there are some traditions where like disposing of like old Qurans is done by burning. So people like mention that as well. But I think like you could argue, well, those were not the Osman burning of the Qurans or these other Quran burnings. The intention is not the disrespect, right? But so this burning of the Quran, because the intention is disrespect, then it's perceived differently. Maybe you could argue that. I don't know.
No,
I
that
don't.
makes
It's
sense.
yeah. I'm making sense of it, but I don't think other people think about it this way. Well, because it's religion. It's not supposed to like be consistent. Like I'm trying to make it consistent for them. Okay, but nobody. This is I've never heard anybody say that. Right. So well, you're welcome, Muslims. You could take that and use that if you want. Um. Anyways, do you want to highlight any other comments before we?
No, let's go into the next news because the next news is a big one.
Okay. This looks like it's unclappable. Is it unclappable? Because I'm seeing people with knives, with daggers, running at the camera.
Let's clap, but not enthusiastically.
Not enthusiastically. Okay. Next news.
Next news. Interfaith violence erupts across India amid festival for Hindu god Rama. On April 10th, this year's Ram Navami festival, which celebrates the birth of Hindu god Rama, was marred by violence across India. The violence broke out almost simultaneously in several different states. In Gujarat, an unidentified person was killed while another was injured. Anand Ajit Rajan, superintendent of police, explained that two groups were throwing stones at each other during the festival. 15 individuals were arrested in Gujarat. And I know I cannot pronounce that right, but this is what we're dealing with today, okay, guys? Anyways, 12 people were injured while one person was killed in Jharkhand during stone throwing and arson attacks. In Madhya Pradesh, 77 individuals were arrested in Kargan, where some of the worst violence occurred. Following reports of Muslims throwing stones at Hindu processions in Kargon, the state's home minister said, quote, whichever houses were involved in stone pelting will ensure they are turned into piles of stones themselves. Dozens of structures, mostly belonging to Muslims, were then illegally bulldozed the same day, leaving several families homeless. In contrast, there were several reports of Hindus helping their Muslim neighbors escape the violence in Kargan. And at the same time, Muslims distributed water to Hindu worshippers in Bengal while they themselves fasted during Ramadan.
Wait, they help with what? They help water for who?
So I wanted to put a positive note at the end because it wasn't all hate. There was some harmony. So in Bengal, there was like reports of Muslims distributing water to the people doing the Hindu procession, even though they were fasting
Oh,
during Ramadan themselves. I thought that
oh,
was
okay. I
nice.
thought
I'm
I
trying to
thought they were.
include more little positive bits,
I thought
because
they were
they're.
providing. I thought they were providing water to the Hindus that were destroying the Muslim
Oh,
houses.
no, no, no.
I was like, this is nice. This is weird. This is being nice in a weird way. But like, okay, but how does this work? How do you like some Muslims threw rocks at Hindus, and now you go and turn their houses into rubble?
Okay.
Like,
So I want to. Okay. There was violence across at least 7 different states in India. So I kind of gave like a very high level overview of a um of many of these incidents, right? But the one that I want to dig into detail about though is what happened in Madhya Pradesh in Kargan. And if someone knows how to pronounce that, if I'm not pronouncing it right, please let me know.
Yeah,
Anyways, so
people are like correcting, like giving us the pronunciation of everything in the live chat, so you can check that. But yeah, go ahead.
I know. Okay, Gujarat. I I've been trying to
Good,
pronounce it right for
Gujarat,
years now.
Gujarat,
That's what I was.
Gujarat,
Anyways, um,
Gujarat.
so okay, okay. Small detour. I have a major complaint with Indian media. And okay, so when you are researching stories of communal violence, I don't know why. Someone please explain. But Indian media uses a lot of heavily coded language. They will not specifically name which community did what. They'll just be like, two communities fought with each other. And there was the majority and the minority. Sometimes, if you're lucky, they get that specific. And then other times, they'll just be like, people from a particular community were throwing stones. It's like, that doesn't tell me anything informative. I would like to know more in depth what's actually happening. So it becomes a lot more difficult to understand the nuances of what happened in these places because they're purposefully using very like opaque elusive language, and it's very frustrating. um I don't know if it's political correctness, but it makes it very difficult to actually have clarity about what's going on. So in a lot of these instances, when researching these stories of stuff that happened locally, it's more difficult to understand who initiated what. Let me make that clear. So let's dig into this one story of what happened in Madhya Pradesh, though. So my understanding is that what happened was there was a Ram Navami procession. And this included, people walking through the city. And at one point in the city, they came into, I guess, a more predominantly Muslim area. And the people in that area became agitated and upset over like the singing that they were doing or the volume of the singing that they were doing. There are also allegations that, particularly in this instance, like they were singing like some anti-Muslim songs. I don't know to what
But didn't
extent
they
that is
on
true.
purpose go and do this in the Muslim area to cause this to happen, to like intimidate them?
Um,
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. Like the
that's possible.
Hindus,
I don't know to what extent it's normal to go
like they took
like
it.
on that sort of route. I don't know to what
Mhm.
extent it's typical to go on that route. All I know is
But
that
I
at one
heard
point,
it's not. But I heard like these people, like during the festival, they on purpose went into the Muslim area and sung all of these things to get a reaction, and they got the reaction that they were looking for.
that's a
Mm,
possibility.
mm.
Um, so, anyways, there was anger and agitation from the local Muslim population, and they started throwing stones at the Hindu procession. Either they felt that they were incited to do so or not. Anyways, this is what I've determined to have happen. And then, so this broke out into some of the worst violence that we saw over this holiday in India. And it resulted in, dozens and dozens of people being arrested. A lot of people were injured. There were some people who were abducted and killed. Um, Tons of arson. The whole city got put on curfew. Like it got pretty extreme in Kargan. So then what happened was then the day after this happened, the state's home minister said, quote, whichever homes or houses are involved in stone pelting will ensure that they are turned into piles of stones themselves. And then that same day, they started to illegally bulldoze a predominantly Muslim area and destroyed over like 2 dozen structures that were predominantly belonging to economically disadvantaged Muslim families. And this
First
was
of all,
done without
there's
notice. And this is
yeah,
completely illegal. It was just like
yeah. Even the court,
no due process. There is no
right?
aspect of Indian law that says
You
for
can do
any
this.
criminal offense that we'll just go destroy your home. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it didn't even the court say like stop, and they were like, "We're gonna do this anyway." Like this is even the court. Like I heard like even the courts were like, "Yeah, you can't do this." but
Yes.
they went and did it anyways. And by the way, there's no way that you could connect. They don't know who exactly threw the stones. So the houses that they're destroying could have. I mean, I'm almost certain that is a lot of these houses does not specifically belong to the individuals that threw the stones, right? I mean, even if they
Exactly.
did, you're punishing an entire family, right? This is
Hmm.
collective punishment, right? So,
Oh,
but again,
100%.
yeah. So, but I don't think a lot of the people with collective mindset understand. They're like, what do you mean it's not them? The Muslims threw the stones, and we're destroying Muslim houses. So we're destroying the houses of the people who threw the stones. Like their mind can't see people as individuals. It's just like it just belongs to that group. Like, well, so the punishment fits the crime. Like I don't really know what to do to encourage people to just try to look at every individual separately from the group that they belong to and stop doing guilt by association. I mean, even if it was, by the way, it doesn't, even if it was one individual that threw the stone and the individual didn't have a family, right? And you want to punish them, f- destroying his house, like let's say like he was just living by himself, seems a bit excessive. Okay, like even in an individual form, if it was the punishment was completely individual, and it's done without like a court or jury, like nothing, like nobody coming out and investigating, the man being able to defend himself, like just go and just destroy the house. I mean, like honestly, like if you are, even if you are like a Hindutva member, do you not see that you're destroying India? Like, do you not see how law and order and the court proceedings and everything? This is what builds a country. These are
Mm.
standards and systems and procedures and values that makes a country a civilized country rather than what I don't want to say here because So do you not care for India? Like because you're destroying it. You're ruining it. Like, do you like? Is your hatred so high collectively for the Muslim population that you want to burn down India with it
Yes.
for the sake of revenge?
Yes.
So you have no love for India.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
there's a bunch of good comments in the live chats that I want to get to. Um, but so but there's so much to unpack. So a lot of the people who had their homes destroyed are like suing, or certain government officials or agencies in the local government, local state government, are saying that they will, address the issues caused to these people. Because here's an important aspect of this, is that the government was saying, oh, well, these are illegal structures anyways. These are illegal encroachments, kind of maybe haphazardly, kind of like shantily built structures. They're dangerous to live in anyways, and we need to destroy them. But here's the deal: when the government usually does that, they're supposed to give notice to the people who are living there so they have time to collect their property and leave. No, they just went in and destroyed their property. Some people like lived close, and like shop owners lived close enough to see that their stuff was about to be destroyed and was able to remove as much of the property as they could. But most of them just received zero notice. And this left like several families completely homeless, and now they're living in a part of a mosque that was turned into like a cow shelter for them. Um
Yeah, but actually,
and
actually, about this point, so, this Arjun in the live chat is making a good point. Arjun is saying, "I am against bulldozing houses, even if they are illegal. Even if they are illegal, the government is taking different approaches for different people, right? So, for example, this this is not about them being illegal because they are
no.
being because they are being these laws are being selectively enforced upon a group of people that just are being, so it's about something else. It's about revenge over something that happened. It's not being enforced independently from that, right? So you can't be like, oh, it's illegal anyways. Well, no, you're like, how, for example, um I don't know, in Turkey, for example, right, you blaspheme, right, and the government comes and they're like, oh, that balcony there is illegal, so you have to go to jail. You know what I mean? I mean, technically, yeah, the balcony was illegal, but you're selectively enforcing this law not upon
That's
everybody,
what
but
exactly
upon
what happened to Zara K with her
yeah.
blasphemy case in Tanzania. They didn't literally prosecute her for blasphemy. They illegally detained her until they could find random stuff that they could pin on her. To intimidate her, and yeah, completely politically motivated. But let's get into the live chat questions that you starred.
Comments.
A lot of people corrected how I pronounce things. Thank you. Um, pain. No.
Unstar the ones that you either saw or you don't want to highlight.
Okay.
Unstar.
Forever Stormy is saying there's violence over this in the most liberal states in India. This poison has now spread everywhere. Interesting perspective. And then people are just talking about how obviously Gujarat has a deep history, on this kind of like tension and violence. So in terms of my commentary on my frustrations with India media being extremely opaque sometimes, Bengali Hindu is saying both left and right media are both extremely biased, but right-wing media is more bigoted. Bulbul is saying it's not just about the language. The facts are purposefully obscured, and Hindus always blame Muslims, including mainstream media.
Well, let's not say Hindus always, because that would be overgeneralizing all of Hindus.
That
right?
would also be generalizing.
Yes.
And so Eric is saying Hindutva goons always take processions and heckle and harass Muslims by going to where they live, and when Muslims react, they accuse them of rioting. This happens a lot. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, that when we posted this news on our Patreon, Oxymoron posted something in the comments that I actually found very interesting. And he was basically showing a thread of many examples, although they were presented without context. And so I have no idea how recent they were. That's important. Of Muslims basically going to do the same thing, going in front of temples and raising green flags and chanting songs against idolaters and waving swords, and images that are a perfect mirror for the instances that have really went viral on social media recently of Hindutva people going in front of mosques and just raising like dozens and dozens of swords, just like brandishing weapons. I thought that was very interesting, because even he said, at least in the Muslim tradition, like it is more of a tradition, particularly in line of like kind of Husseinias and some self-flagellation stuff, to have these swords and stuff. But when it comes to the Hindutva, they're basically just mirroring what they've seen the Muslims doing, to try to bring, to use his words, like a symmetry to it. Now, this is not a symmetry that I would like to see. I would like to see both people stop brandishing weapons at someone from a different religion, okay? Either side, that's freaking disgusting. And it also raised an important question for me, which is, why do so many people have swords? Like, all these people just running around with swords. And it's not like a kind of thing where, like, I'm just being, to my knowledge, just like an American not realizing, oh, well, this is a tool that we use in our everyday life. Like, no, this is like a sword.
Well,
like, this is like a ceremony. Why does everyone have swords?
That's better than your country, where everybody seems to have guns. So maybe you should. So,
pain.
Would you rather? Would you?
Sir, you have a point. Yeah. Oh, and then Bulbul, in regards to the Supreme Court situation and the bulldozing, Bulbul is saying they continue bulldozing even after the Supreme Court order. And what's interesting is, first this happened in Kangor and Madhya Pradesh, and then I saw recently, because I was doing like more recent research, they started bulldozing housing constructions near mosques in Delhi recently too. So in a totally different state, they started taking similar actions. Bengali Hindu is saying they are poor Pashmanda Muslims, which means like lower caste or like oppressed Muslims. And so now they're additionally like displaced and disadvantaged. And what's interesting is that many of the structures that were bulldozed were actually created under like government programs and government schemes. and then the government is destroying them, saying that they're illegal encroachments. It's like, but this was created by like a scheme under the prime minister. Like what? And so Oxymoron is saying they weren't looking for reactions from Hindus. It was reactionary tribalism by edgy Hindutva. Muslims do similar thing in Hindu majority area. It's just that they have been doing this for decades. So this comes off the back of what I was just saying. What do you think about that, Armin?
Wait, isn't it just a country? They weren't looking for reactions from Muslims. It was reactionary tribalism by edgy Hindutva. Well, I mean, if it's reactionary tribalism, doesn't that mean they were looking for, like, how does these two contradict each other? Susie, do you know how they
Well, it's
contradict each other?
basically saying like they weren't necessarily looking to get a reaction out of Muslims. They're just doing to Muslims what they have been seeing Muslims been doing to Hindus for years. Hence the quote unquote reactionary tribalism.
Okay, but so
that doesn't make it right.
That doesn't.
But I don't think Oxymoron is saying that it's right.
I don't. Yeah. So Oxymoron is not excusing it. He's just saying us what he thinks the motives are. Okay. So I don't know. I think like when you're talking about a crowd of people, I don't think we could know. I mean, maybe some of them were like, "Oh, like they hoping to get a reaction." Some of them are like, "Oh, we're just doing what was done to us." So because it's a crowd, we can't come up with a general. I've seen reports of people saying that they were wanting to get a reaction, right? So that is a claim. It could be not true, but I think like it's possible that there are multiple different motivations, right? But anyways.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So
there was Asian American just became a member.
Yes, I was just about to say Asian American just became a Satan's minion. Thank you for becoming a member, Asian American.
Can I unstar all the comments on top of Oxymoron's comment? All of them?
Yeah. And PK is saying, also, it's illegal to take down houses because there was no notice served to the people. According to the laws, at least 5 days of notice is required. True. And PK is saying, I'm very careful to say this, but I genuinely feel we are headed towards something extremely bad, something much greater than Gujarat in 2002. Gujarat. So for those who don't know, in 2002, there was what many people describe as a mass pogrom in which thousands of people were killed, majority of which were Muslims. Very, very intense religious violence. And the 20th anniversary of this happened just last month. So this is something that's still very much in the nation's consciousness, particularly within the state. And yeah, I'm genuinely concerned about the temperature that's happening in the nation right now. It's really scary. Aryan is saying the only way this crap gets resolved is for constant ridicule of Islam and Hinduism, and then eventually people will get less offended, just like mocking Christianity has no effect in the West anymore. Well,
hey,
this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, if you want that, become a patron and enjoy some of our blasphemous art, Hindu art. And if you want a free, that's the nude version is on our Patreon. But if you want the free version, which is the clothed version, subscribe to our newsletter. We will send them to you every week as we make new ones. And you can spread them around, share them, and that's why we are doing what we're doing. So thank you for endorsing that.
This is so funny. Forever Stormy is saying Susanna should just call it the goo state. Honestly, I think I will.
The goo.
And then Gossam, our local Persian, is saying it's Jigarat.
Okay, that's Persian humor.
That's a good one. That's hilarious.
Okay. All right, so
Jigari Manarat.
Right. No. Okay. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Not enthusiastically, but we will clap.
Okay, next news.
Next news. Indonesian ex-Muslim sentenced to 10 years in jail for criticizing Islam. On April 6th, a 56-year-old Indonesian former Muslim cleric turned Christian YouTuber, Muhammad Case, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for allegedly posting offensive videos. Case reportedly claimed that the Prophet Muhammad is known to God, quote unquote, because devils surround him. He was arrested in August 2021 after many complaints were filed against him. Case has been in detention since his arrest, where, according to the Persecution International Christian Concern, he suffered inhumane treatment. According to local news, another inmate, a detained police official named Napoleon Bonaparte, beat Case and forced him to eat his excrement. Prosecutors insisted on a 10-year jail sentence for Case. According to UCA News, the prosecutors charged Case with spreading fake information, which carries a heavier penalty, instead of charging him with blasphemy. Blasphemy cases in Indonesia have a 5-year maximum jail sentence, while misinformation charges can go as high as 10 years. Case's lawyer said that they would appeal the ruling.
Wait. So how is this misinformation spreading? What was he saying? Exactly.
Okay. Obviously,
Well, wouldn't technically, as an Islamic country, wouldn't every blasphemy case also be a misinformation case? Because like you're spreading misinformation about Islam, technically.
well, I think
Or
that's the angle that they took. Obviously, I don't speak the language. These court proceedings aren't available to me. I just had to look at what was written in the news, and they don't talk too much about the reasoning of the prosecutors or why the judge decided to go with this type of sentencing, besides the fact that they have highlighted and pointed out the fact that there is heavy hypocrisy going on, because they highlighted that there was a case of a ex-Christian who converted to Islam. He was arrested for blasphemy against Christianity and prosecuted similarly, but he only got 5 months. Whereas this guy used to be a Muslim, became a Christian, so they're opposite to each other. He gets 10
because
years.
one of them is blasphemy, okay? But the other one is misinformation, because if you speak something bad about Islam, that's also is because it's not just blasphemy, it's also misinformation.
Because it's like
According to them.
objectively true. Is that
Like,
supposed to be the reasoning?
because at least if you blaspheme against Christianity, okay, you're technically not saying anything is untrue, okay? You're just blaspheming, so blasphemy laws apply to you. But if you say something wrong about Islam, not only you're blaspheming, given that Islam is objectively true, you're also spreading misinformation. So we could give you 10 years. So I don't know. I
I
don't know
know,
if
it's
this is
so
how it works.
crazy.
I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
By the way, Ghost Bunny is doing a double take on like the poop eating part of your story. Do you want to explain the poop?
yeah,
How
Ghost
poop
Bunny is saying
eating?
forced him to eat what? So, maybe some people remember a few months ago we actually covered this story that, although it was reported on differently at the time, it throws me off because the guy who did this to this ex-Muslim guy, the perpetrator, his name is Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay,
Yeah.
so
this is the weirdest story in the
it's
world.
like so crazy. So Napoleon Bonaparte is a like disgraced former police officer who's in jail for like corruption or something, and he's presumably a Muslim, or if that's what my memory is telling me. And at the time, we reported that he didn't force Muhammad
No,
Case
so wait.
to eat
No,
his
no, so
poop. We
this
reported that
wait.
he was throwing his own poop at Muhammad
Oh.
Case.
Oh, wait. So we have a police whose name is Napoleon Bonaparte, who was in jail,
Yes.
finding out that he's in jail with an ex-Muslim,
A blasphemer.
at the same time blaspheming as ex-Muslim, and he didn't like that, so he threw his poop at him. So this is the
Yes.
story. Okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
And well, now it's being reported that he was like forced to eat it or something. Um,
So it's not
but
just
there's
throwing it at
also
him. Okay.
yeah. There
Classy.
was also a lot of reports of him just like straight up being tortured or like really badly abused. Um,
Unbelievable.
yeah, in jail. Like I saw the photos, like they're horrible. Um,
You saw the photos? Oh my god. Okay.
oh yeah, I mean his face was just black and blue.
Oh,
They went after him in jail. Like it's horrible. And now he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. So hopefully that this gets repealed. But I think it's ridiculous that
well, so I didn't know that's the same guy. This is the same guy that had all that
yeah,
stuff happen to him, and now he's going through this ordeal. So
yeah.
after all that poop eating and torture and poop being thrown at him, now he has to stay in jail for another 10 years.
Well, yes, unless they're able to
I
they're
think he should
they
get
can
time off
appeal.
because of the. I think he should get time off because of the poop.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
But
Okay.
yeah, this is what you get for being an ex-Muslim YouTuber in Indonesia. Because he has hundreds of videos, purposefully trying to insult Islam and
Which, as we
offend
are
the
often
public.
reminded of, which is, as Reza Aslan mentions, Islam can't be that bad because look at Indonesia, right? This
Oh,
is
no, my God.
Indonesia and Malaysia are often used to are given us as examples of how Islam is not necessarily that bad because look how moderate and advanced Malaysian Indonesia are. Well, like, yeah, this is here's your example. This is the best you could get with Islam. So
I know it's
yeah,
ridiculous. And what I did appreciate was that there's been a lot of human rights organizations who have come out against what's happening to Muhammad Case, and um, they're pointing out the hypocrisy of his treatment versus the treatment of this ex-Christian Muslim guy who he was arrested and convicted for calling the Bible fiction. He only got 5 months. Muhammad is getting 10 years. And so here's a quote that I thought was good. Quote, the Indonesian government should promptly repeal the blasphemy law, said Andreas Harsono, senior researcher for Human Rights Watch Indonesia, told ICC. Both Christian preacher Muhammad Case and Muslim cleric Yahya Waluni need not stay a single night in prison because of the toxic law. So basically saying neither of these people should be prosecuted or put in jail whatsoever for what they have to say about their former faith, no matter how offensive it is. Eric is saying there's no apostasy law in Indonesia, but the blasphemy law is in full swing there. Yes.
Didn't Indonesia have some official religions that everybody has to have, like 5 religions?
So they have like I believe roughly 5 like approved religions, but in Indonesia in general they have this concept that starts with a P. I can't remember the name of it, but they have this concept that starts with a P that reflects like their 5 values that they have as a country, and it's a very like native Indonesian concept for their own construction of democracy. Um but a lot of the even like the super Salafis, like they oppose it. They oppose this
Mm.
um
Okay, so but
like
the understanding is,
Indonesian
I think
social
maybe
construction because it calls for like harmony and
right.
in synchronicity between beliefs and faiths, and
Yeah,
obviously they're
yeah,
completely
obvious.
opposed
No,
to
no,
that.
but my point is like, okay, so you can be an apostate in Indonesia, but you can be an apostate by switching from one of these 5 approved religions to another one, right? And as long as you don't blaspheme, so blasphemy is not okay, apostasy is okay, but you can't just leave all of them. You have to just leave from one to go from one to another. I think that's how it is. I'm not sure, right?
I'm not
I
exactly sure.
yeah, maybe correct us if we're wrong about this, but I'm just still I'm just like so surprised about, like, I don't understand, like, I'm noticing there are people out there in the world that use poop as a punishment. Okay, especially with this whole um, what's his name? I don't. What's his name?
Muhammad Case,
No, 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 no. A celebrity, the
Johnny
couple.
Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp. Like, look, like more, and his former wife. Like they were using poop as punishment. She was using poop as punishment as well, allegedly,
Dude, that whole
right?
situation is crazy.
No, but like,
I'm
is this a
100%
thing?
team Johnny Depp. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm just like, it's just so weird to me. Like people like, oh, I don't like this person. How do I? Oh, I guess my poop is a good tool.
It's
Like
very
what?
petty. It's very petty. It's meant to be just like grotesque and insulting. And also, I think it goes funny saying her nickname is Amber Turd. Oh my god. I think it's also very primal in a way. I think it's very animalistic. And I don't mean that in a
Wait,
dehumanizing
don't.
way, just
Okay, no,
frankly.
yeah, don't say it because YouTube might think we're dehumanizing people, and
Because
that's a
like this is
huge red
what
line.
primates
Yeah, yeah,
do.
I know.
Is
Don't
they
say that though. YouTube really is very sensitive about this. Okay, so when
it's just a fact of life. It's not
yeah, like try arguing with YouTube. Like we can't. Okay, so no, so we're not dehumanizing anybody. We're just comparing, certain behavior in, so these are obviously humans we're talking about. Okay, we're not dehumanizing everybody. YouTube. Okay, we're just talking about whether there's certain behavior in humans and animals that are similar to each other. Okay, and humans are animals. Okay,
and we
so
are
do,
primates.
yeah, we are primates. So please, like, don't strike us down. Okay. Um. Okay. Cool.
I think
Does this
it,
guy?
it it comes from that instinctually because it's like a way to spread disease as well. Like I think that's why we weaponize it. I don't know.
I've never felt the urge to weaponize it. But anyways, does this ex-Muslim Christian man have any chance of getting out of this situation or no?
I have no idea. I'm not aware of like how likely that is given the political situation. I hope
Unbelievable.
so. He has appeals available to him. I don't know how
Okay.
likely they are to be successful though. Considering that he got the book thrown at him for this in comparison to the other guy, I don't know if I would be too hopeful.
Okay. All right. Can we do we move to the next news?
Um yes, but the live chat is making me laugh.
Why are they saying?
Oh, just about the poop flinging, like a lot of good comments that I can't highlight because of freaking YouTube.
Yeah. Wait, we got another donation. I don't know from where. Oh, No Name donated to us. Guys, like if you see anybody donating, please let us know because we don't see it on StreamYard.
Oh my
So thank you so much,
goodness.
man.
No Name donated 100 Swedish krona. Thank you so much.
Guys, we're almost at $1,000. This is amazing. Thank you so much for
Uh,
that. All right, so can I clap for the next news?
this one actually does involve someone dying, so I think we should
Ooh.
not.
Okay, next news.
Okay. Next news. Delhi man lynched on suspicion of cow slaughter. On April 11th in western New Delhi, a farm caretaker was murdered after a group of men attacked him for allegedly slaughtering a cow. 5 other men were injured during the attack. The police had received reports of an alleged cow slaughter and they rushed to the scene, but the attack was already taking place. They were able to stop the attack, but unfortunately, one of the victims, Rajaram, a 40-year-old man, died of his injuries the same day. The police registered 2 FIRs, or first information reports, which is a police report for those who don't know, and arrested 5 individuals suspected of cow slaughter. But no one was arrested for murder. The police also said that they collected a few samples from the spot and sent them for examination for the cow slaughter investigation. 10 to 15 men claiming to be cow vigilantes carried out the attacks. Jasho Devi, Rajaram's wife, accused the attackers of spreading false rumors about her husband.
Are you serious? Like they're not even investigating the murder? Like is the priority the cow slaughter? Everybody's just like
They are investigating the murder, but it was just ridiculous that
"Huh."
the the first FIR, the first police report was filed against the alleged cow slaughter. And then second, I think maybe It's unclear because I was looking into it. It doesn't seem like there's been like following arrests to my knowledge. Maybe they're waiting on an autopsy. I don't know. But all of the initial action that the police took was all first and foremost about the cow slaughter. Oh, and Bread of
Um,
Life gave us a donation. Thank you for the $10, Bread of Life. Thank
yeah,
you for your
thank you so
weekly
much.
tithe.
Thank you so much for that. Guys, these donations are better than super chat because the donations YouTube doesn't take any cut. The super chats YouTube takes a huge cut. But the donations YouTube doesn't take a cut and it even covers the transaction fee. So thank you for that. But okay. So I don't know what to say. This is ridiculous. I don't know. Maybe some vegans will be like, finally the priorities are equalized. I don't know. What do you think?
Those would be like the vegan extremists, to be fair.
Right.
I think well, I one thing I think my thinking about this has kind of shifted recently. Um because I'm coming to think, and I would like to hear what people in the live chat have to think about this. I think that um, lynchings over alleged cow slaughter should be considered a form of blasphemy lynching.
Right.
What do you think about that? They're not usually
Yeah.
kind of classified or thought of that way, but it hit me. I was like, this is blasphemy. This is a blasphemy lynching.
Yeah. By the way, isn't India the number one exporter of cow meat in the world?
I believe so.
Is that true? Because that's some irony right there.
Well, let me
Oh,
Google. I don't know if that's still true. I know it was.
Eric is saying there were some a-holes who asked to legalize cow lynching last year. Wow, the audacity.
Well, in 2019, the government established an agency or a wing or branch, whatever, that's specifically dedicated to cow protection, which in many ways people say like they think it really legitimized this kind of activity, this kind of vigilantism, because it's saying, well, look, the government even has a mandate to protect the cows. We're just taking it upon ourselves. What's interesting in this case is that oftentimes the victims are Muslims. And so people wonder to what extent the cow slaughter is the actual motivation. In this case, it wasn't a Muslim guy who was the victim of this, seemingly. Based on my research and the names of everyone involved in this matter, it doesn't seem like he comes from a Muslim background. So, oftentimes, when it's not a Muslim, it's often lower caste like Dalits or Adivasi tribal people. I don't know the background of this person, but it's really interesting to consider the way in which these lynchings are used as an excuse to go after already disadvantaged or historically disadvantaged communities. I don't know necessarily what was the background of this person, though. But I mainly wanted to talk about it because we haven't talked about cow slaughter lynchings in a really long time on this channel. And it's something that happens way too often. It happens fairly frequently. It happens so frequently that I don't even really choose it to cover it on the news because it's like, oh well, it's just another cow lynching. Like, what can we say about this? But then I realized I was like, actually, we should be highlighting this. And I wanted to talk about this, like flipping the way I'm thinking about it as this is a blasphemy lynching. He
Right.
starts some
But
comments.
no, yeah, but before that, Al Uza just got us a $1,000. We just reached the $1,000 mark because Al Uza just donated $15. Thank you so much, Al Uza. Al
Oh
Uza being
my god.
thank you. We
No,
we
not oh my god. Oh my Uza.
oh my
Uza
Uza, yeah.
Akbar. Everyone say Uza Akbar in the live chat.
Uza. Uza is one of the daughters of Allah, by the way. So for
Yeah.
people who don't. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
Um
much.
I can't believe we got to the $1,000 mark so fast. Thank you. Appreciate
Wow.
that.
We
Yeah.
have such an amazing community.
Yeah. All right. So highlight. Yeah, I started a whole bunch of comments. You want to read those?
So Bubble is kind of concurring with me, saying this is basically a blasphemy law. Like Pakistan's model, mere allegations are now enough. Um, uh, Eric is saying, Armin, remember when Haris Sultan told you how Imran Khan was radicalizing Pakistani since 2018. Modi is doing the same in India. Man, when you look at the graphs for hate crimes in India, like it is shocking what has happened since 2014. And Asian American is saying Atheist Republic is destroying gravestones blasphemous to people who practice ancestor worship.
Oh.
Huh. If it is
Oh, he's
treated,
challenging you. He's
if it's
challenging your.
treated as a if it's treated as a shrine, it would certainly be desecration. I mean, it's not your own property, so that's vandalism. Wait, how is that how is that challenging me? I don't understand. I wouldn't
No,
support someone doing
he's
this.
trying to see whether or not we could just separate the crime. Like, would this be property damage crime, or because some people cherish it as something as part of their religion, and if they, oh no. So Asian American, if you want to be consistent, you have to say like the people who take a revenge on somebody who destroyed the gravestone because it's their religion, then that would be um oh yeah, a blasphemy crime. So if it depends on the intention, it would be if you're destroying it because you want to attack some people's religious belief, that would be considered blasphemous by them, and if they take a revenge on it, that would be a blasphemous crime, if you want to compare it to what Susanna is saying. A squirrel is asking us on Twitch on how they could help us build our community on Twitch. We don't know much about how to manage our Twitch and how to promote it, but if you have any ideas, please email us at info@atheistrepublic.com. And if you want to help us, then let us know. Give us your suggestions on how we could grow our Twitch community. By the way, follow us on Twitch. Link in the description.
Yes, and Seth just donated $5. Thank you so much, Seth.
Thank you.
Okay, last comment is actually there were two good comments. So Bobo is saying the main cow export companies are Hindu, close to BJP. They named their companies Al Kabir or something to sound Muslim. Cringe. Oh my goodness. Oh boy.
Wait, what?
The main cow exporters are Hindu, but they call their companies names that sound Islamic.
To cover themselves?
Yeah.
To hide the fact that they're Hindu and close to BJP?
Yeah, or
that's amazing. Wow. Is
like
that if that's the actual reason
attributable to the Islamic side?
Or just to like not bring attention to the fact that they're Hindu? Okay, if that is their reason, that is unbelievable. Amazing.
And this is an interesting comment from PK. PK is saying, I will say we have been an extremely tolerant society. I remember as a kid seeing cows being slaughtered right in the middle of the street by Muslims. Sad we have come to this. It's a very interesting perspective.
Okay, that is freedom-wise, that's cool. But again, I'm not in favor of slaughtering cows in the middle of a street.
Yeah, I don't think that's sanitary.
It's not sanitary, and it's also not... I mean, I'm not a vegan, okay? But if you want to kill cows, like, do it in a factory where they have one of those things that, what is those thing called? Those things, the guns, the electric, I don't know what it is called, right? There's something that they put right at the back of the head of the cow. I've seen that there's different ways that they kill the pigs and the cows in factory that is absolutely painless, right? The way that if you're doing it in the street, you're doing it cutting the neck with a knife way, and letting it bleed, which is a very slow and painful death, right? It's really bad. I'm not in favor of defending animals' life, but I am in favor of defending them from pain. You know what I mean? So I don't want to endorse that in any way. Like it needs to be. I think there needs to be laws about the way you kill animals and to make sure that it's completely painless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Asian Americans saying it breaks the spine instantly. So you just drop dead without feeling anything.
Wow.
Oh, it's a stun gun. Yes, it's a
Yeah,
stun
that's what
gun.
I said. I just really
Yeah.
like how Asian American will just is constantly inserting like Chinese heritage and mythology into everything. Oh my Hanuman slash Wukong.
That's very
Oh my
good.
Wukong.
Wait, that was racist. Did you do a Chinese accent?
No, I was just saying it.
No, I can't. That sounded like I'm just kidding. I'm
Really?
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
I was just
kidding.
putting my own
I
Susanna
am
flair on it.
kidding. I'm kidding. All right, all right. Okay, can we clap for the next news?
um, we can clap because things ended out like pretty okay, considering.
Okay, so it's because okay. Next news.
Next news, Bangladeshi teacher arrested for saying, quote, there is no evidence in religion. On March 22nd, Hirade Chandra Mondal, a high school teacher in Bangladesh, was arrested by authorities for telling students that, quote, religion is a matter of faith. Amnesty International managed to access an audio recording where Mondal is heard saying, quote, there is no evidence in religion. Religion, in the end, says God will take care of everything. Religion offers memorized words, whereas science shows evidence, end quote. This recording was used to file a police report against him. 2 days later, he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of blasphemy related offenses. Mondal's initial attempts for bail petition were rejected twice. Bangladesh's education minister, Deepu Moni, said Mondal's arrest is unfortunate and called for further investigation. Sumriti Singh, deputy regional director for South Asia at Amnesty International, called Mondal's detention a shameful sign of a disturbing trend in Bangladesh. After 19 days in prison, Mondal was released. So, um, this okay. So there's like this was a very interesting story, and there was a lot to get into here. One thing that I will say was positive about this news is that this incident seemed to have gotten a lot of really bold and stark condemnation from not only organizations like Amnesty International, but also a lot of Bangladeshi academics themselves, like openly coming out and saying, like, this is unacceptable. We need to have teachers and academics being able to have these discussions in the classroom and not have to worry about being filmed, not have to worry about being reported to the police. And yeah, Eric is saying he never said anything specifically blasphemous towards Islam or Hinduism. He merely said religion. But there are people saying that he, insulted Islam. So I want to read a little bit more of the quotes from him. So he argued that religion is a matter of faith, while science looks at evidence. And so there's a lot going on with this story. Before I dive in, Armin, do you have any immediate reactions?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the fact that you were saying why would they even find this offensive? Because you thought that religious people will also say, yeah, it's not about evidence, it's about faith.
Oh,
But this
because
is
we were
only
talking about this earlier. Let me give the backstory. So I was talking to Armin about this earlier, and I was saying, like, from my ex-Christian perspective, I'd be like, it's very common to be like, yeah, you're right. This isn't a matter of evidence. This is about faith. Like my family will
yeah.
say, like this, like because I argue from the basis of evidence. They're like, this isn't about evidence. This is about faith. But Armin had a very different reaction to that.
Yeah, I mean, the Bible, for example, says that why are you trying to understand things through reasoning when you just should have faith, right? So the Bible even says, like, I'm not quoting it exactly, but it has something related to that somewhere. But I was telling Susanna is because you're putting your Christian mindset on an Islamic environment, okay? Because that's not what we were told in Islam. In Islam, I mean, if you read the Quran, it constantly talks about evidence, evidence, evidence. Like, it's like, I think this is mostly a Christian thing. Like, I'm not saying all Christians, like, there are many Christians who say, like, no, we need evidence. We have evidence for Jesus, right? But there's also more within Christians that, it's more common within Christians for you to hear We don't need evidence. We have faith. We don't need reason or evidence because we have faith. Like this is another evidence and reason is one pathway to reality and truth, and faith is another, right? So it's separate. But I've never heard that from an Islamic. I mean, I'm sure if you look for it, you'll find it, and I'm sure some people might say like, "Oh no, I've heard a Muslim say that," but I think it's way less common, especially because the scripture itself, the Quran itself, relies on evidence, constantly claims that there is evidence, and even like Abraham, for example, even in it base doubted God based on an Islamic understanding, and God was like, okay, go cut these birds into pieces and put them all over the place, and I will bring them back to life as evidence that that I could do stuff, right? And the Qurayshis were constantly challenging Muhammad, like, how could this be true? Like, give us evidence, like there is evidence, like, y'all don't you the Quran. Here's the thing, the meaning of the how do you say Quranic verses? You see ayah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ayah means signs of God. I mean, the whole point of the Quran is
Oh.
that it's an evidence for the truthful, for the existence of God and for how Islam is true. So Islam is actually very focused on it being evidence. So from an Islamic perspective, saying there's no evidence for religion would be considered blasphemous. So that's a Christian mindset that would say like, oh, we don't need evidence, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, Bread of Life was a Christian in the live chat. She's saying, I have reasons for my faith.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
see,
Katie is saying, my Hindu family used to say we have enough evidence for religion. The evidences they provided weren't really great, but people here do care about anything they can give as evidence. I think
so
even go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, I wasn't. So Bread of Life was a Christian who's saying this. I'm not saying that all Christians say they don't need reason or evidence, right? But I'm just saying it's if there are religious people who say there's no reason, we don't need reason or evidence, they're more like it's more possible for them to be Christian than Muslim. I'm not saying all Christians are like that. I hope people understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um so well there's a lot I wanted to talk about with this story.
Okay, wait. Somebody's correcting me, and I'm gonna correct them. Somebody's saying it's ayat, not ayah. Okay, I am Persian. Okay, so I am pronouncing it in Persian. Okay, so in Arabic, the a sometimes it sounds te, right? But in Persian, because we don't have those a at the end with the two dots at the top, a lot of the things that has te at the end, when they become Persianized, they become just a. So it's ayah in Persian. Okay, we're going.
Well, as
Ayat
someone
or
who is
ayah.
learning Farsi, I have learned very quickly that we drop a lot of sounds, make everything shorter because you don't want the
Yeah.
mouth to move that much. He's like,
Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
anyways, so I was doing I kind of went down a wormhole with this news story. Like, there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. So there are some people who say that, oh, well, this, the case against him was brought forth because of his supposed blasphemy or insult to religion. And there are probes that have gone forward about this saying, no, he hasn't insulted religion at all. And there are other probes that are being investigated into this and saying, no, he did, definitely. And when it came to his detention and how he was denied bail twice, reportedly the police were like, we kept him in detention for his own safety. Like, mobs went to his school, mobs were attacking his home where his family lives. Like, it was very tense and very dangerous. So they reportedly just kept him in custody for his own safety. Now, the other thing is that there was lots of reports that this was personally motivated. Like, they were using blasphemy as a vendetta against him. And he said that this is partially because he works at a school where a lot of teachers just don't bother to really discipline the children. And he's a strict teacher and he holds students to a certain standard. And so he's gotten a reputation for this. So it's like that could have been a motive. Another motive is that he apparently has a booming private tutoring business, and the other teachers are jealous of his private tutoring business because it's taking away from their own students that they could be getting this business out of because he's so good at what he does. Because there's details with the story about how teachers his fellow colleagues were involved in this blasphemy case against him. And I think this is interesting because um, it's really unfortunate the way to which these religion is used to take out personal vendettas against people. Um, and then it becomes there's all this equivocating with people saying, "Oh, well, no, this isn't Islamic at all. This is just personal vendettas." Well, even so, like this is, a case of people using Islam as a reason to go after someone, to go after his livelihood. The good news is he's out of jail. He's actually back in the classroom now, teaching again. Um, it says he was charged with these blasphemy-related offenses, so that seems to me like there might be some still legal proceedings and court cases going forward. But I was really happy to see the extent to which there was a lot of really loud condemnation and support for him. And I hope that support
because it's not Pakistan. Because I think this would be a lot worse if it was in Pakistan, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
He would be dead. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. He would be on death row.
Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Damn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like you're saying it was so good that he got so much support that people were
yeah. Oh yeah.
him.
And so he was basically saying, I hope that the authorities continued to protect me because there are still threats against me. And I hope if he does have continuing legal ramifications that he continues to get support through that.
You want to read some of these comments? Oh.
Seth is asking, what are some good resources for learning Farsi independently? I haven't found too many. Well,
Rosetta Stone.
No, you can just watch YouTube videos. I'm watching Learn Persian with Majid. Great YouTube channel, and it's actually not that hard. And also have some friends that speak Farsi. If you don't have friends that speak Farsi, join the Atheist Republic Persian Discord, and you can make friends that speak Farsi and practice with them.
Yeah, and then you can watch my shows in Persian. We have an Atheist Republic Persian channel. So, yeah, go learn it and come over there.
That's my main motivation for learning Farsi, because you have some juicy guys. Like, we can't even talk about how controversial Armin is getting with the Persian channel right now, and I want to be able to enjoy that content. Asian American is saying, Atheist Republic, seek knowledge unto even China, for surely the prophet, blessed be his name, spoke of Shia Confucianism and the joining of Ahlbayt and Kunja. I'm hoping that we eventually convince everyone at Atheist Republic to join the most holy faith of Shia Confucianism.
All right. Can we move on to the next news, or should we? We're good?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
It's not good.
Oh, no, we're not going to clap. Yeah. People literally died. Okay. Oh, wait, I almost clapped. Next news.
Woman who sued cop for forced baptism found dead. On April 13th, 42-year-old Shondell Marie Riley, who had just begun the process of suing a police officer for allegedly forcing her to get baptized during a traffic stop, was recently found dead in her home. The cause of her death is still unknown. The police are waiting for the medical examiner's autopsy reports to determine if there was any foul play involved. In 2019, Riley filed a lawsuit against Daniel Wilkie, a deputy officer from Hamilton County, Tennessee. Riley accused Wilkie of baptizing her against her will in exchange for being let off with only a citation for marijuana possession, a controlled substance within the state. She was forced to drive to Saudi Lake while Wilkie called another deputy, Jacob Goforth, as a witness for the baptism, and who recorded the incident on his phone. In 2019, Wilkie was involved in several lawsuits, charged with 44 counts of assault, including RAPE and official oppression. Robin Flores, Riley's attorney, said his team plans to have Riley's children take her place as the plaintiff. He explained that they could use her recorded deposition to continue the lawsuit. He added, quote, a baptism by a police officer in the line of duty in exchange for leniency in a criminal case is beyond the pale. So let me get something out of the way first. Okay. I know the headline is about how this woman died. We have nothing reported so far to believe that this was anything malicious. There's nothing reported. They are still doing an autopsy. Like we can't make any speculations about like officer involvement in this lawsuit or anything. We have no idea why she died. So I kind of want to set that part of the story aside because it's something that we just don't have enough information about to make any conclusions, and it would be irresponsible to make any conclusions about that. What I want to dig into about this story is this issue of this forced baptism, which is absolutely insane. And I'm glad that this lawsuit is going to proceed.
Is this people in the live chat? Seth in the live chat is saying that this forced baptism is not that uncommon in the American South. Is that the case? How does that even work? Like, is it mostly done by the police?
Forced baptism? What are you saying to me? What was the comment?
Oh, here. So, here. It's sadly not a bizarre if you spend time in American South. I don't know. How does that work? Like,
as the
how
police,
do you force?
I haven't heard of this before. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't heard of the police doing this before.
Baptism.
So I don't know what maybe there are other instances of like people being personally forced into a baptism, maybe in their personal life. In terms of the situation with this officer, he basically coerced her into doing this baptism. And by the way, as a Catholic, the idea of a random police officer baptizing someone is absurd to me. I'm like, you can't do that. Only a priest can do that because he's embodying Christ in this moment. You're telling me this random officer is supposed to do that? Hell no. So yeah, this is, as a Catholic, this is just crazy.
What was the motive? Was this guy like really just Christian, really Christian? I think that he's like saving this woman, or did he have other motivation?
So she also alleged that he touched her inappropriately during being handcuffed.
During the baptism.
So her story. Riley alleged in her lawsuit her over at around 9 p.m.
You go a little bit back. You got Robert. You got go back. You got Robert.
Okay. Wilkie pulled her over at 9 p.m. on February 2019, and she admitted to having marijuana in her car, which is illegal in both medical and recreational uses in the state. Wilkie told her to get out of the car and searched her twice, and she said that he touched her crotch inappropriately. He also found a leftover of a joint on her. Wilkie told her that he would let a citation if she agreed to let him baptize her. She agreed and drove to a lake that was close by. Wilkie called Deputy Jacob Goforth to witness the baptism and recorded on his phone. Riley's lawsuit said that Wilkie and Goforth used excessive force, assault, and intimidation to violate both her constitutional rights and rights under state law. And the district court judge ruled that the lawsuit could proceed, but that the other officer who filmed the whole thing was protected by qualified immunity.
What? They filmed their crime? They filmed the whole thing?
They filmed the forced baptism, reportedly.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's just read some comments here.
Wait, there's one more thing. So this is a statement from the district court judge. The judge said that Goforth, now a former deputy, had failed to protect Riley and found his excuse that he didn't know that Riley was being forced because she drove herself to strain credibility. Quote, if anything, the truly bizarre nature of these facts should have put Goforth further on notice that the seizure was inappropriate.
By the way, is there anything we can do about you freezing a lot? You're freezing a little bit too much. No? Is there anything right now? Do it better? No.
No.
Okay. Also, your phone is vibrating a bit. So, um, okay. So PK was asking what happened in the baptism. We already addressed that.
What happens in baptism in general? Is that the question?
No, in this baptism, I think. Yeah, I want to move on to the next news unless you have anything else to highlight, because I want to highlight these comments after between the two
Go for
news.
it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna. This news is over. D is just saying good stream on secular jihadists about pocket. Oh, D is saying good stream on secular jihadists about Pakistan politics. By the way, check it out, guys. Yes, guys. Yesterday I did a stream with Harris Sultan. So go check it out. As on secular jihadists, it was about Pakistan and Imran Khan, and I think it was. I've seen a lot of discussion about Imran Khan being removed as prime minister in Pakistan, and I could guarantee you that my discussion with Harris on this matter was the best I've seen. Okay, like every single other news outlet or YouTube commentary on this does not even come remotely close to how good this discussion was, right? So make sure you go and check it out. Just search for secular jihadist, and the latest video right now is the Imran Khan one. Cool. PK saying, by the way, I disagree with you on Pakistan politics. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
No, I don't think it's a good thing.
All right, next news.
Next news: 6 men sentenced to death for blasphemy lynching that shocked the world. On April 18th, Pakistan's anti-terrorism court sentenced 6 men to death, while 9 were handed life imprisonment sentences for the brutal mob lynching of Priyantha Kumara, a Sri Lankan working as a factory manager in Sialkot, Pakistan. The court also gave a 5-year imprisonment sentence to 1 individual, while 72 individuals were given a 2-year jail sentence. Kumara was killed on December 3rd, 2021, over blasphemy allegations. Kumara, during preparations of the factory for a site visit, asked factory workers to remove any stickers on the machinery. Workers accused him of, quote, desecrating posters bearing the name of Islam's Prophet Muhammad, which led to the mob lynching in which hundreds of men participated. The recording of the incident appalled the international community and drew harsh condemnation. Sri Lanka's foreign ministry spokesperson, Suji Sarwa Gunaratne, demanded that Pakistan take, quote, the required action to investigate and ensure justice. Abdul Raf Watu, the lead prosecutor, said, quote, we are satisfied with the outcome. So
yeah, I'm not satisfied with this outcome.
Yeah, this is a very important story to cover, not only because the murder of Priyantha Kumara is a very, very, very important blasphemy lynching that happened within the past year, and for a number of reasons. But it's a particularly important one. And so I thought it was important and essential that we kind of follow up on this story. So this is a major development and a major thing that we have to follow up on. Now, this also brings many issues with it. One, here at Atheist Republic, we don't support the death penalty. And 2, it's not as simple as just saying, oh, okay, we're going to, put these 6 men to death, 7 get in jail for 2 years, 1 guy gets 5 years, etc., etc. Or some people are given life imprisonment, right? Because here's the problem. This brings up the Shaheed problem. Armin, Could you please expand on this Shaheed problem?
Yeah. First of all, some people are pointing out in the live chat that they don't think these executions are going to happen. They're going to be on death row, and then eventually, then I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. But
Well,
we're
they will be
against.
able to appeal their sentencing.
Right. So some okay, we'll read the comments in the live chat later, right? But yeah, this is okay. So we have studies that shows that the death penalty just doesn't work even in normal countries, right, where they don't have this shahid or martyrdom concept, right? So even when in places where people don't think like it's good to die for religion, even in those countries, the death penalty doesn't seem to disincentivize people from committing the crimes any more than life sentences do, right? So based on that alone, everybody should be against the death penalty. Now take that to a place where people might even feel honored that, or that they're going to die from the religion. So I think the results would be even more in favor. Again, I'm just speculating. Either it would, we have no reason to believe that it would be less. This, like it would be actually more disincentivizing. Like changing people's behavior compared to other countries. If anything, we would think it has even lesser of an effect because the concept of martyrdom or die or shahadat uh, in Islam for the sake of honoring your prophet or whatever, or for the sake of Islam, right? So yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, we also don't like any government having the authority to take human life unless it's in self-defense. You know what I mean? Like if it's in war, it's in in protecting an invader or an aggressor or something like that. But just it's just like it's barbaric for the government to have that authority to just be like decide somebody who's not doesn't have a gun in his hand at the moment to just die. Like it's just so like uncivilized, I think, and it doesn't have any utility. So why are we still doing that? So yeah, I'm definitely against it. But what do you think?
I agree with you. On the back of that, Seth has an interesting comment. Seth is saying also government authority and legitimacy comes from the people. The government does not logically have the moral authority to kill people from whose consent that authority derives.
I don't buy that argument, because if you want to use that argument, they can't jail anybody either. Like, I mean, it's about the majority of people's. Okay, so for example, I would be for the death penalty. Okay, if you could show that the benefits outweigh the cost, right? So I don't argue based on principles. I argue based on consequences, right? But it doesn't. The costs outweigh the benefits by a huge margin. Um, if even if you're if you're taking some people's freedoms away or executing them, if it's in the best interest of the majority of the other people, as the representative of the people, you will still do it because you are representing most of the people. So you might have to sacrifice the well-being of a few of the people for the sake of all the other people. Okay, but if it had that utility, but it doesn't have that utility, so there's no reason for letting any government do that. So I don't buy. Yeah, you can't just be like, oh, these are the people. Well, then you can't put them to jail either. But anyways, yeah.
Let's look at some live chat comments. Forever Stormy is saying Islamists will now come on the street and hail these murderers as heroes and pressure the state into saving them. Yeah, so this is exactly part of the Shaheed problem we were talking about. Um, Bengali Hindu is saying this is just for show. Lynching and killing is still continuing. They won't be hanged if there is no international outrage. Um, I mean, there definitely was a high degree of international outrage over the killing of Kumara. I just don't know how much the international community specifically wants the death penalty. Um, yeah. And Asian American is suggesting therapy over imprisonment.
For
I
some
mean,
people, I don't
in
think for
yeah,
I don't think for everybody. I think for some people, um, I'm I think for certain people, life in prison is the right answer. I'm not sure actually. Actually,
definitely,
you know what?
definitely.
You know what? I'm just gonna appeal to the experts. If I don't know. I'm just gonna claim ignorance over this. I just know I'm against the death penalty. But whether therapy or imprisonment works better based on like is it across the board or if it depends on the individual or if it depends on the crime, I haven't. I'm gonna just be like I do not know
Mm.
because I haven't done the research on that.
Yeah,
I just know death
in this
penalty.
instance, we would need a way more severe intervention than just therapy.
I mean, yeah. Imagine like if you could fix what these people did with therapy, then like, can you just apply it? Can you just let us know so we could de-radicalize the entire planet? Like, I don't know what method, like what kind of therapy, like somebody who lynched somebody for blasphemy. What sort
No,
of
like the
therapy
mere
are?
allegation of taking a sticker off of a wall.
Yeah, like
It's crazy.
if the humans have managed to come up with a therapy that fixes that way of thinking, then why haven't we fixed the planet yet? Like that seems like a super weapon. Like that's like sounds like a superpower that we could just like apply to everyone already. Like what the like I don't think we have that capability. Yeah. All right.
It's a tough situation. Um,
Okay. PK is actually happy about what we're doing.
PK
Okay.
is saying, as bad as things are in Pakistan, at least there's some action by the government.
This
Oh
is low
damn!
bar.
Oh damn!
The government is doing something. Like I mean, yeah, I mean, first of all, the thing is not a good thing, but if the standard is like, oh my god, I can't believe Pakistan is doing something, imagine how bad situations are if that's the standard. And these are saying, I'm against the death penalty, but does Pakistan actually carry out any of them? I mean, Pakistan does carry out death penalties. The ones that I think they haven't ever carried out are the blasphemy laws.
Correct.
Those are the ones that they never carry out. Right. Okay, so can we clap for the next news?
Well, we don't like it, but it pales in comparison to the previous news, so we will clap.
Better than other news.
Next news. Indian High Court rejects recognition of gay marriage, cites Hindu culture. On April 14th, the High Court of Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, India, rejected the plea of a lesbian couple to have their marriage recognized. The government of Uttar Pradesh opposed the plea, insisting that same sex marriage is against Indian culture and the Hindu religion. Quote, in India, marriage is considered a sacred sanskar, which is, I'll get into that in a second. Whereas in other countries, marriage is a contract, Uttar Pradesh's council said. The state's council also explained that India, quote, runs according to the Indian culture, religions, and Indian law. The council added that marriage without a man is unacceptable since it is beyond the concept of what is considered a family in Indian culture. Although the Hindu Marriage Act of 1995 does not explicitly prohibit marriage between same-sex couples, it defines a valid marriage as between a groom and a bride. Justice Sekar Kumar Yadav eventually rejected the couple's plea and also dismissed the case submitted by the mother of one of the couples, which accused the other of abducting her daughter.
Wait, what? Who? Okay, can you go over this? Who abducted who and what is this like? This is against the. So India approves this marriage, but this court doesn't. Like, how does this work? What's the
No, 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 no,
relationship
no.
and who's?
There
Okay, okay.
is zero recognition of any same-sex marriage in India. Okay. Let me there's no legal recognition of that. This lesbian couple filed a case and they were trying to get it recognized. They were trying to bring it up through the high
Oh,
courts and have it be recognized. Um Part of their argument is that so in India, you don't have a uniform civil code. There is different civil codes for different family matters, or family for different family law depending on your religion or background that you come from. So there's the Muslim personal law, there's Hindu personal law, there's Sikh personal law, there's Parsi personal law. They have different laws according to your own religious background, which there's historical reasons why this came to be. Personally, it doesn't make any sense to me. And
Okay.
it
Well,
leads to a lot of consequences nowadays where
so
things like just like are contradictory and they don't make sense from the outside. So because of this, because there are all these different types of personal laws, it makes explaining Indian personal law, very civil code, like very confusing. So if I get things wrong, I apologize. But like I said, because there are different rules for different communities, it gets very confusing. So this is in regards to a lesbian couple from a Hindu background. So because they are from a Hindu background, they are subject to the Hindu personal law, therefore the Hindu Marriage Act of 1995. So they're arguing under the Hindu Marriage Act, which they would have to be married under because they are from a Hindu background, that that act does not specifically name that marriage is between a man or woman. It says two persons. But later in the law, it specifies that it's between a groom and a bride. It doesn't necessarily specify the sex of the people involved. So they were trying to get their marriage recognized through their reading of the law. They also had some arguments on the basis of the ruling that was fairly recent, which decriminalized homosexuality in India. And the
okay, go ahead.
the final thing that you were like, wait, hold up, what? So, this is a lesbian couple. The mother of one of the women in this relationship filed basically I think it was the habeas corpus, but basically she accused the other woman of abducting her daughter, which is very common in India. That
Wait, is it?
when it's very
Oh,
common that when you are in a relationship and cohabitating, when you're living with your partner and your family doesn't approve of your relationship, they will file abduction cases or missing persons cases against you so that
but
the police are
this
involved,
is a
and the
woman
police are
abducting.
utilized to harass the couple that is disapproved
Oh,
of by the family. And oftentimes, even though these are adults, consenting adults involved, the police will nevertheless force the couple apart and force them to go back with their family. And I've talked to
okay,
many
but
people. Yeah,
is it common for a woman to be accused of abducting another woman? That's kind of
for
hot, by the way.
lesbians, yes.
Oh, and so okay, the
When the family
accusation.
doesn't approve, yeah.
Okay, okay. I don't. Okay, but we have actual examples of women abducting lesbian women abducting other women? No, right? Like this is
Not
like
to my knowledge. I mean, it's a big country, so I'm sure it's happened at least once.
I know, but this is such a weird accusation. You know what I mean?
It's not weird. This happens constantly to couples that are not approved of by their families.
Still weird. I don't care if how much it happens. It's still
It's
very weird.
wrong. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so glad Katie is in the live chat.
yeah. I highlighted her
Katie,
comments.
I remember Katie last year sent me a story about how there was a state, I think in the South, that actually put up special protections for gay couples because they get so frequently accused of abduction of each other. And they put up a special law that basically says that the police are not allowed to get involved and utilize as a way to harass couples in this way. Like they put up extra protections. So, Katie, if you could please remind me what state was
What?
involved with that.
I am
But
offended that the
it's
cover of
so
this.
common that there are now states getting involved with legislating against it.
Okay. By the way, why is the cover two guys if this was like a hope about some lesbians?
You just want to see lesbians. That's what you're getting at.
Who
I know
doesn't?
you.
Okay. Okay. So, can we? I start a whole bunch of comments. Oh, I have another question before we go to the start comments. Why is the High Court, the Uttar Pradesh High Court, mentioning Hinduism as a reason? Wouldn't that be like violating like this secularism in India? Shouldn't it be like? Shouldn't it be giving a different reason, even though that's the actual reason? Should they not, like, if they're mentioning, oh, like, this is because of Hinduism, that's why we're rejecting this? Isn't that like
So, okay,
unconstitutional?
this is what you would think But this is what the difference between having a uniform civil code, like, say, America, and then India's version of secularism, which is kind of like designating the laws according to the different groups to, like, kind of legislate and try to not interfere with the faith practices of the group. It's very complicated. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
Mm.
technically, no, it's not interfering with the secularism of India, because they are discussing the matter on Hindu personal law. Like, the personal law for Hindus is inherently about Hinduism.
I see.
And the state has to make decisions about this. It has to make decisions. It has to balance what is quote unquote Hinduism, and then what is the matter of the state, and what should the state legislate and not allow and get involved in. So it's
So
very
effectively,
messy.
the courts, the so-called secular courts, because of these personal laws, are having to actively decide what's part of a religion and what's not part of a religion all the time.
Somewhat. They might not always be making a judgment on what is and is not a part of a religion. They may acknowledge that this is part of religion, but say this may be a part of your religion, but we cannot allow this. So, for example,
Hmm.
triple talaq is one of those examples. Like, they don't allow triple
Obviously,
talaq.
there's okay, yeah, okay. So,
But
okay,
obviously
so
that's Islamic.
hey, that's a good precedent. Okay, so why is it that we could be like, if the Uttar Pradesh court comes and says like, hey, this is part of Hinduism, so we can't have it, don't we will like, well, in India we have precedent for the triple talaq thing was part of Islam, and you were like, well, even though it's part of this Islam, we're still gonna get rid of that, so we're not always gonna submit to, whatever nonsense culture you have. So we could also apply the same thing about to the here. We could ignore it.
Theoretically, yes, but
Hmm.
okay. Again, personal law is freaking confusing. And
I
all I
know.
know
Okay.
is that when people try to make changes to the Hindu personal law or the Muslim personal law, it gets spicy. It gets spicy. It gets
Well, it's
real
India.
heated, and people start to lose their minds, especially with the Muslim personal law. Like, this is
Right.
one of the most contentious issues in the country. And Forever Stormy and St. Susanna will probably pass a bar exam in India if she keeps up at this for a couple more years. Well, I don't know about that, because I'm still like, what,
Okay.
this construction? It's so outside of the construction of law that I'm used to in my country that I have previously not talked about it in a way that's accurate, because it's just like so dissimilar. Um, but I think
I
it's
have
I
a
think
whole bunch of comments by Bulbul and Katie that we want to get into.
Yes, yes, yes.
About that.
Well, the last thing I want to say, so they're saying that in India, marriage is considered a sacred sanskar, which is like loosely translated as like a rite of passage, and that, it's a contract, and that this is a sacred rite of passage that's only for men and women, which seems like it's so antithetical to Hinduism to have a monolithic Hinduism that is like
You're
antithetical to the
right.
construction of Hinduism
Oh my,
itself. So
yeah,
who are
you're
you to
right.
say that this is not within your sacred sanskar? Like,
Right.
it doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's not within Indic culture. Says who?
Yeah.
And it's also confusing because
There
when
is
we
no
were going
one
through the
culture. There's no one Indic culture. There's just like, this is a whole combinations of different cultures. It's a very interesting, because when we attack Hinduism, people are like, "Oh, you can't attack Hinduism because there's no one Hinduism," and then at the
exactly.
same time, and then all of a sudden they have like, "Oh, here's the one true Hinduism." I'm like, what happened to not there not being one true Hinduism? Like, I don't know. It's like the Matrix. When it's when you're trying to shoot at it, right? It just like dodges, becomes this like this. It goes from being a particle to a wave, right? So like, oh, you can't attack us because we're like a wave, right? Like your bullets just go right through, right? And all of a sudden, when it wants to force its way upon people, it becomes matter. It becomes one thing. But then when you want to attack it, it becomes like, oh, what Hinduism? Hinduism what? Hinduism, it's not even called Hinduism, okay? It's like, that's just your name for it, okay? It's not even a thing, okay? So it's just like, it has that flexibility to become a thing, another thing, depending on what it's trying to do. Anyways, we do have a whole bunch of comments that we want to
Yeah.
highlight.
Wait, there was another
Yeah.
point I wanted to make. shoot,
You're like
it'll come back to me.
diversity. It was diversity. Okay.
Yeah. Katie is saying the cases for legalizing gay marriage in the Delhi High Court are still ongoing. True. There's a lot of people trying to get this going forward in the legal system. So there's a lot of cases going at once. This was just one. The hearing is being delayed by the Indian government. That is honestly the only hope right now, even with all the delays. So yeah, we'll see how the thing in Delhi is going. But the legal system is notoriously overburdened. Katie is also saying sanskar is cultural values. If you're a wife and not slaving for your husband's family, you're not sanskari or unsanskari. If you wear Western clothing as a girl, you're not sanskari. Interesting. Yeah, like it's a very broad concept that I'm not able to really expand upon. Bulbul is saying
Sounds
usually
like harami, but go on.
Oh, you're kind of right. So in regards to talking about the abduction allegations in this issue, Bulbul is saying usually the dude and the eloped couple face abduction and RAPE charges by the girl's family. So yeah, this is used against straight couples as well. Katie is saying the police actually kidnap adults on behalf of their parents. Yes, exactly what I was saying. I personally know people who have had their partners being accused of that. Oh my God, that's horrible. I can only imagine the stress. Holy crap. And so, yeah, and again, with these abduction charges, the idea behind these charges is to harass the couple and also send the cops on their chase and return them to their families. Katie is continuing and saying, my parents accused my trans-affirming psychiatrist of brainwashing people into joining some cult, LOL, all because she told them that I am trans and it's not a disease. Yeah. And in terms of your question, like, isn't this violating secularism? Bulbul is saying, no, the judge isn't violating anything. Judgments in India often quote religious texts, especially for family law matters.
Unbelievable.
Which is just such a disservice to the populace because you're chaining your populace to like texts that were written hundreds of thousands of years ago that traditionally were maybe not even like referred to that much, but now we're being chained to them, and you're like not allowing your society to course correct as needed and adapt and change, which is just like a destination. Like it's just a recipe for stagnation, which was really unfortunate. Katie is saying you're overestimating Indian secularism. Indian secularism is not real secularism. It's this weird Gandhian secularism. Yeah, where it's so hard to try to explain to people how it works. Bulbul is saying that's not how it works, Armin. In again referring to this secularism in the law contention, or when we were talking about triple talaq. Triple talaq is also outlawed partly because it's considered sinful even within Islam. So it's not even necessarily on the argument that this is not a good practice to have in our society because it's...
So they're using Islam against Islam. Like the hijab ones are like, oh, we can't find hijab anywhere mandated in Islam. Okay. I see how it works. Clever. Hindu court.
Oh, and Jim has a good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Jim is saying, I presume there's no atheist personal law. I think you presume correctly.
Well, why not? We should use their own weapons against them. Okay? The percentage of atheists in India is rising. We need an atheist personal law. And this way, every time they want to come for blasphemy and stuff, we're like, well, that's part of the atheist personal law. So, can we petition the courts for an atheist personal law?
Well, I think so. Partially the issue comes is like on all your documentation from a very early age, or maybe as soon as you're born, like your religious background is on your documentation. So even if you leave, technically you're still considered part of that government. There have been Indians who fought really hard to get no caste and no religion listed on any of their documentation, but they're only allowed to secure that because none of that was ever listed on their documentation from the very beginning. It's like an exception to the rule. It's extremely difficult to be able to be acknowledged by the government as not religious.
Okay. So Bengali is also confirming what Bobo said above, saying yes, you can do a registry marriage without any religious ceremony. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying an option to opt out of this whole personal law thing. I want to add a personal law where you opt in and be like, my culture. I know this is. By the way, I don't believe any of this. I'm just want to use their weapons against them. Okay, I'm like, my culture is atheism, and these are the set of. And I know, guys, atheism is nothing other than a lack of belief in God. But I'm just trying to use it as a tactic. Okay, just be like, oh, okay, maybe, okay, fine, atheist, not atheism. Okay, not atheist personal law, because atheism is just like lack of belief in God. How about secular? Okay, let's add secular personal law and call secularism a set of cultural values that a whole bunch of a lot of Indians have, and that should be added as addition to all the other personal laws just for the sake of equality, and be like, I want to opt in on to that one. And if you opt into that one, hey, guess what? Gay marriage is part of that. Okay, gay marriage. So you're saying these are Hindu girls who are, because it would be violating their Hindu personal law. Well, they're not part of Hindu personal law. They're part of the secular personal law. And based on that culture, it is completely in line with their culture. So why not that? Why can't we do that?
Or even better, what if we just had a uniform civil code? Huh? That's what I would like. I would like a uniform civil code. I would like people to be held to the same
You're
standard.
not going to get that. Given that you're not going to get that in India, I'm just saying, like, given that you have personal laws, well, there's a lot of secularists in India, so they should get their own personal law as well. That's not going to happen. You're dreaming, Susanna.
No, I mean, the BJP is actually very much pushing for a uniform civil code, or at least that's on their platform. I don't know how
Okay,
much
good.
activity there
Here's
is.
the thing. Let's say this. I support the BJP on this one thing. Okay, so for people who think like
In
we're
theory,
dogmatically,
but let me be clear.
Okay.
This is the issue, is that I have major concerns about the BJP implementing this in a way that still protects their majoritarianism and is mainly utilized as a way to put minorities in their place. Like, if they construct a uniform civil code that protects what they want or what they hold dear, but then takes away what others hold dear, like, it comes at their expense. Like, that's what I'm very concerned about. Is like, this is just being utilized as a way to mainly put Muslims in their place. Because there is a lot about Muslim personal law in India that I hate. I hate. So I don't know. It's a mess.
If it's going to take away all those privileges from Muslims, as long as it's taking away from all other religious groups, I'm completely okay with it. But this is good, because now we have something that we could say, like, we support the BJP on, so to show people that we're not dogmatically just like anti everything that the BJP says. Like, this is a good thing that we could like be like, hey, look, because for example, I'm very much against Trump, but people like, well, is it Trump anything that Trump did that you're for it? Because if I can't find anything, it shows that I'm dogmatically against something rather than having reason. So we found something with the BJP that I think I could personally be like, yeah, I'm completely for this. Here, you want to read this?
Katie is saying,
sorry, you're this one.
Oh,
first.
wait. Okay, so this is a fantastic comment from Bubble. Bubble is saying Modi recently said he wants to introduce a uniform civil code with polyamorous marriage for both genders. Okay, Modi.
Oh my God.
You got me on this one.
You got
Freaking based. Let's do it.
Oh my
God. Can I have that here, please?
I'm actually now gonna defend Modi on this one. Finally, we found something. That's fantastic.
This is the one thing. The one thing.
Okay, this is great. That would be more progressive than everywhere else in the world. Actually.
Amazing. Katie is saying the BJP wants a uniform civil code, but there's obviously a catch to that. It seems more in line with Hinduism and not very friendly, not very minority friendly, instead of a true universal civil code, which is Stormy is saying right now you'll get a Hindu code wrapped up as a uniform civil code, which is basically what I was trying to express as like my concern.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with that. So if we can't support the BJP on this one, I'm just gonna do the polyamory one. Can we support him on that one? Give us something. Okay.
I fully support the idea of eventually a uniform civil code. 100%. I think the country has to evolve to that place. Like, these different rules for different people isn't going to last. Like, the blatant hypocrisy with how Sikhs are treated versus Muslims versus Hindus. Like that can't go on forever. People like or they're like, well, look at this. This doesn't make any sense. Like just different standards for different citizens. I don't like it.
Right.
And also, oh, Katie is saying the polyamory thingy for all genders is certainly based though.
Yeah.
And Bulbul was saying that the only penal code that you cannot opt out of for inheritance is Hindu. So if you were born in a Hindu family, you cannot, go to a different form personal code to deal with your inheritance. You're stuck that way. Like that's so unfair. People have no choice over what background they're born into, and they are subject to different rights being available to them. That's wrong.
Hmm. AJ is pointing out that we have no super chats. AJ, that's because we have the donation option right now. Okay, and the donation option on the live chat is better than the super chat because the super chats YouTube takes a part of it, right? But with the donation option that now we have enabled, um, YouTube doesn't take a cut. Not only it doesn't take a cut, it even covers the transaction fee. So it's really good. So you could use the donation option instead. And if you want to do like the super chat, you could add a comment to it, but the donations you can't. So if you make a donation, put your name on the donation and then make a comment right after it. So we'll treat it like a super chat that way. Oh, AJ saying donation is not working in Australia. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, just you're a member, so we'll just we'll pay attention to member comments either way. So because you have the YouTube membership thing. I don't know. Yeah. So I didn't know that the donation option doesn't work in Australia. I don't know. We'll see whether
We'll have to
donation part
investigate what locations it's available in because there's weird rules on that.
I don't know. What do you guys tell us? What do you prefer, the donation option on the live chat or the super chat option? Because monetarily, YouTube not getting a cut seems pretty good. But if we don't get so many super chats because people don't have that available, then it's weird. Because in the places where they don't have the donation, they should make the super chat enabled in those places. Then, yeah. Okay. Cool. Anyways, we should move on. We spent so much time on this one. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can. It's
next news. Oh,
next news. Polish party proposes 3 years in jail for quote unquote insulting the church. Recently, Solidarna Polska, or United Poland, a Polish conservative party, proposed a 3-year jail sentence for anyone who insults the church or religious sentiments. According to Marcin Warchal, the deputy justice minister of the party, desecrations of the images of the Virgin Mary, disruption of church services, and spraying of slogans on church walls are just a few examples justifying this proposed law. Last year, Nergal, the vocalist of the Polish extreme metal band Behemoth, was convicted of quote-unquote offending religious feelings for showing himself stepping on a painting of the Virgin Mary. The conviction was later overturned in court after Nergal challenged it. Martel added, there are also multiple incidents, including LGBTQ parades where the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ were depicted with rainbow halos. Anti-abortion demonstrators also interrupted church service and vandalized church properties. Warchal claimed that the laws aimed to expand freedom and rights for the LGBT community are at the expense of Christians. According to the new law, public mocking of the church or other religious association will lead to 2 years in prison and up to 3 years if done via social media. So, this hasn't come through, but there are people pushing to make the blasphemy laws in Poland even worse than they already are.
Okay, first of all, the examples that you mentioned was not insulting the church. Those were vandalism. So they're using actual crimes that people have committed as an excuse to criminalize words like insulting the church. Like, do people not see the difference between these things, or are they like, am I missing something here? Like,
so
that's not
some of these cases,
like somebody destroyed property. Oh, like let's make the 3-year jail for insulting the church. Or like One
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
these is not like the other. Like these are not, these are separate things, sir. But
Oh,
yeah, go on.
totally. Like, so in these instances of like spray painting on a church wall, like I completely oppose that. That's straight up vandalism. Like, that's not your property. You can't do that. That's already illegal. Punish it under the specific laws, but it's getting special privilege. This kind of a crime is getting special privilege because it's done to a religious institution. I mean, it already
Yeah.
gets special privilege, but now they want to make it even worse.
I mean, they can't. I mean, this is insane. I mean, Poland keeps seeming to want to add more and more blasphemy laws, but this can't, like, they're part of the EU. They can't do this. I mean, they already have their fundings threatened. Was that Poland or Hungary? I think
They're
I don't
both
know.
very reliant on the EU, and they're both being threatened.
Yeah, so they're not gonna do this stuff. I mean, like, this is not. They have to abide by EU standards, so they cannot do this. Like, I don't know. But I'm not saying I'm not
But they
worried.
can. They already have blasphemy laws on the books. They already
Okay.
convict people for blasphemy, Armin, and they're still a member of the EU.
Yeah, but because
They
of this
already do.
nonsense, but they have like billions and billions of dollars being threatened because of this insistence of, like, our feelings were hurt. Like, they rather their feelings be intact rather than getting billions and billions and billions of dollars from the EU. Like, do you really want to
You're
challenge that?
conflating two issues. The issue of them being threatened with their funding being revoked mostly has to do with them not acknowledging the legitimacy of the European High Court, and it also has to do
And
with their prohibitions on LGBT stuff and LGBT
and
rights and
human rights,
abortion.
human human rights in general. They're like, in
The
general, they're
immigration
seeing.
refugee issue is part of it as well. But now with
Yeah.
Ukraine, I think they're
Mm.
kind of like letting that one pass because they need Poland to take a lot of the Ukrainian refugees at the
By the
moment.
way, guys, we have blasphemed Mother Mary in the most beautiful and sexy way. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you will be able to see that, and that was
Yes,
partly that was
we
in
made
response, yeah,
we
to
made
Poland.
two Polish blasphemous
Yes,
arts. One is
yes,
the LGBT Halo Virgin Mary, and two is LGBT. No, it's just Virgin Mary licking Nurgle's boots.
yes. Those are both in response to Poland's ridiculous blasphemy laws. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you should be able to see that. Um, But yeah, this is ridiculous. This is a European. This is not just a European country. This is a European country that is part of the EU. Like, unbelievable. Like, the fact that, you know what, a lot of I've seen a lot of Islamic YouTubers say, like, look, how could you expect us not to have blasphemy laws, where even a
Mhm.
European country recognizes that these are necessary, even a European country, or even a country, these countries that talk about individualism and free speech and modernity, blah blah blah. Even some of them have the sense to realize that there are some things that are holy that you have to respect, and there needs to be law. So they're using this as an excuse to be like, obviously, we need some form of blasphemy law, which is so
Mhm.
disgusting. Like, the European brand is now used as an excuse to show, like, there needs to be some limits.
Yeah. Wait, this
Yeah.
is this is one part of this proposed legislation that made me so angry and blew my mind. Quote, the proposed change would also increase the punishment for interrupting religious ceremonies such as masses and funerals with up to 3 years in prison, while removing from the law a specification that the acts must be malicious. So usually, so what happened a few years ago was there was an LGBT activist who did a painting of the Virgin Mary with a rainbow halo, and she got prosecuted. Several of them got prosecuted for blasphemy, but they got off. They got acquitted because they were not able to prove their intention as being malicious. Not because of freedom of expression and the validity of that, or saying actually, like, it's just a rainbow Mother Mary. Like, what's so bad about
I mean, Katie is saying,
that?
aren't
Like,
they
no, prove
just?
intent.
Oh,
So they
oh, oh, sorry,
they
you got
want to
cut.
take out that portion of the law. Additionally, United Poland wants to introduce legislation that would exempt people from criminal charges if they were expressing religious beliefs. So if you're doing this for your own religious profession, then it's not a criminal charge. Again, which is just like additional privilege upon privilege.
Okay, let's read some highlighted comments, some start comments before.
Yeah, Forever Stormy is saying, pretty sure current laws already deal with defacing property, etc. Yeah, I would assume so. And Todd Skeptic is saying, Poland looks at Islamic countries. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, they haven't got to that level, but yeah, I get the
No,
point.
no.
Getting close.
And Forever Stormy is saying Poland doesn't want Muslim refugees and then goes on to behave just like Islamists. It's not
Well,
that,
not just like, but closer to.
yeah, closer to. And Seth is saying, devil's advocate, isn't this basically the same idea as a hate crime? The idea that a crime with some odious motives is worse than that of the same crime otherwise. Basically, yes. This is a crime saying this is worse because of some ideological basis.
Okay, so what I'm reading is that they are just wanting to criminalize insulting on its own. Not that if it's a crime already, then it would be worse if it's also a hate crime. Like, for example, the Mother Mary stuff, for example. That is so a hate crime is like, for example, let's say Mr. Person A punch Mr. B in the face, okay? Because he owes you money and he's not paying, okay? That's a crime, it's not a hate crime. But the same action, if it's done because of like race or something, now all of a sudden the same action is a hate crime, even though it was the exact same action, you punch somebody in the face, and the punishment for that is higher, right? Because I mean, some people argue we shouldn't be. A punch is a punch. It should be the same punishment, right? But some people are saying no. The motivation matters because you have inflicted a pain on an entire community. Because now there's anxiety about, there's pain and anxiety inflicted on an entire community. Because when you punch somebody because they owe you money, you're not putting an entire community in danger, right? And also that form of that motivation needs to be fought against more, because the spreading of it and the pain to society from that is more dangerous than two individuals just having an issue with each other, right? But it needs to first be a crime, and then without it being a hate crime, and then because of the motivation it becomes a hate crime, right? But if you like insult somebody because of the race, that is not a hate crime, because the action itself is not a crime, and then you're adding hate on top of it. You know what I mean? So insulting the church is not a hate crime. If you could say, like, if you vandalize a church because you're trying to inflict pain on Christians, that is a hate crime, because vandalizing in general is a crime, and this on top of that would be a hate crime, right? But just a mere insulting would not be a hate crime. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It makes complete sense.
Okay.
Bulbul is saying Poland is the most ridiculous, openly racist country in Europe. Just see how they've dealt with blue-eyed Christian Ukrainians. I'm actually curious about what the most racist European country is, because there's some stiff competition.
Hungary. Isn't Hungary there?
Hungary and Poland are both up there.
Actually, never mind. We're talking about countries that could be considered like closer to West Europe, because the farther east you go, the more racist it gets, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, like Hungary and Poland are like basically on the edge. And I think Hungary, and we're like comparing them to completely Western European countries. So yeah, the standards are different. Yeah.
What are you talking about? The standards shouldn't be different. Shouldn't be different anywhere.
I didn't say they should be different. I just said they are different. The standards in Hungary and Poland are different from the standards in France and UK. I didn't say that's how it should be. I'm just saying that's how they are. I was making a descriptive claim. Right. All right. So we could move on from this comment, but we have a correction from Bobo for the previous.
Oh yeah, Bobo is saying, guys, I'm sorry. I think Modi's speech was a satirical post I saw.
Oh, Susie, you're frozen.
Can't find.
Right? Wait, Susie, you're frozen. You need to go back and read the comments
Oh
from the beginning.
man.
Guys, please donate so we could buy Susanna a new computer. Okay, but yeah, read it again.
Bobo saying, guys, I'm sorry. I think Modi's speech regarding polyamory for all genders. It was a satirical post I saw because I can't find it online. Friendship with Modi is canceled.
Really, we can't have just one good thing. Like oh my god. We need to find one thing we like about Modi or the BGP. Like, by the way, what do we do? Because now we need to cut this part and add it to the other news, because or else when we cut this news segment, it's going to be people. So yes, maybe we could, if it's not too much to ask, maybe we could ask our editor to cut out this part and add it to the news segment. But that's so sad, because I was hoping that there's something. So there's nothing about Modi that we like. Guys, please, here's a mission. In the comment section after the stream, please challenge us and find something about BJP or Modi that we could celebrate as something that is good.
Mm-hmm.
All
By the
right.
way, I'm looking at a map and it looks like Belarus might be the most racist. No.
Belarus.
Lithuania and Belarus and the Czech Republic
Really?
are the most racist.
Okay.
They have the most racial bias.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Czech Republic is really blowing people out of the water.
Oh yeah, here's a good thing. He gives us good memes. No, something that he intentionally does that is good. That is good that we could celebrate. And AJ saying that's going to take a while. Well, that's a challenge. That's a challenge for you guys. Something that we could actually celebrate. You know, for example, people ask me what's something that you could celebrate about the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? And my answer is always like, well, they encouraged people leaving Islam in Iran. Like they are the main they are the main force behind people leaving Islam. That's one good thing I could say about the Islamic Republic of Iran. But that's cheating, okay? Like the challenge is say something good about them that they intended to do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's difficult. I haven't found anything yet, but that's the challenge. Okay. Anyways, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Next news.
Next news. Richard Dawkins and Atheist Republic to speak in Germany. Guys, we have amazing news. Armin and I have been invited to speak at Celebrating Dissent in Cologne this August. Yes, we're very excited. We'll be speaking alongside freaking phenomenal speakers such as Richard Dawkins, Mariam Namazi, Ibn Waraq. So I'm so excited. One, this will be my first in-person speaking engagement, which is very exciting. Also, there are like dozens of speakers who are there that I'm so excited to see, either because they are my friends or personal heroes. So this is going to be freaking phenomenal, and it's going to be a party in Cologne, and you can buy tickets online and join us.
Okay, let's look at the list of the speakers. Richard Dawkins, Mariam Namazi, Bonya, Ibn Barak. Oh my God, Ibn Barak. We finally see him. Oh, Rana is going to be there. Oh, Mina is going to be there. Sohail Ahmad's going to be there. Jimmy Bangish is going to be there. Dan Barker is going to be there. That's amazing. And Annie Gaylor is going to be there. So, oh, Muhammad, finally we see. Oh my God, we get to see Ensaf Haider.
I know that like this is incredible.
Yeah. Nuria is gonna be there. Zara is gonna be there.
I'm excited to see Khadija.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. This is Susanna. This is a good picture of you because you have the shirt. Yeah. Oh, Mimsy, Ali. This is great.
I'm really excited to see Keenan Malik. He's like a personal hero of mine.
Ali is gonna be there. That's me.
Milad.
This commie is gonna be there. Oh, by the way. Yeah, this is an actual Milad is an actual communist friend of ours. By the way,
there's a lot of communists on this panel.
Yeah, there's a lot of communists. Look at what I have.
The commie tears mug.
Like, who got this for me, Susie?
Music guy. Music guy got this for you.
Music guy got this for me. Look at that. Anyway, so we have communist friends, but
Guys, if
we are
you want
not.
to send us stuff, we have a PO box in the description. If you also want to
Okay.
send us,
Oh, for people who are listening to this on a podcast, don't know what I'm showing. I have a mug that says "Commie Tears" on it, and at the bottom it says "Still warm." Thank you so much, music guy, for this one. This
music
is
guys
really
say
good.
me.
Yeah. All right, well, let's bring back the speakers. Okay, so oh, Nina is gonna be there. Halima. So look at this. This is really good. Oh, look, this picture of Harris. Harris, will you get to see Harris? But this picture is so young of him. This is such an
He's
old
so yeah,
picture.
that's an old picture.
So
I
he
know.
looks
I'm
like a
so excited.
baby.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna lose my mind. Also, I
Yeah.
mean, he's not a speaker, but Babak, who's the
Babak
co-host
is
of
gonna
our
be there. Yeah, yeah.
Babak, is gonna travel with me.
Nice, nice. So yeah, what the date? What's the exact date? August
August 20th
21,
through 21st.
20th to 20th. Yes, in
Oh
Germany.
wait, music guy is also pointing out that he got me a mug too, and I happen to be using it tonight.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
you're right. What?
unicorn on a stripper pole.
That's pretty good. Wait, so you guys, you could search for, you can find this event by searching for "Celebrating Descent 2022," or link is in the description as well at the very bottom,
Yeah,
at the very end.
let me put it in the live chat.
Yeah, put it in the live chat. Put the homepage in the live chat.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, come over and see us and hang out. This is gonna be fun. I really had fun last time we did like one of these events. It was the best time ever. And Susanna was always like telling me that how much she would want to be part of an event like this. And now you
I
are.
know.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Oh, that sounds cute. Um yeah, okay. Um okay, one last thing I wanted to highlight is okay, so do you want to add anything about this, or do we want to, because I have two comments that I want to highlight, unless you
No,
want to add
people
anything
have
to it.
just told. I've had some people say like, "Oh, I'm excited to meet you in Cologne." Like just community members, so we can all
Yeah.
hang out together, guys.
Oh, Darker is saying the ticket prices are very reasonable. Let me actually
Yeah,
see
it's
the
only
ticket
50
prices.
euros for both days. Like I was shocked.
Yeah, or 40 for one day. No, 30 for one day or 50 for both days. So that's pretty reasonable. I mean, yeah, the lineup of the speakers are pretty good. So I think that's pretty reasonable. Anyways, I gave the challenge for what things that Modi did that was good. And people responded. Bobo says Modi has done good work in encouraging startups in India. So there you go. I'm going to add that to my list, and I'm going to mention it. And Katie saying he might eventually lead to India's progress extremely fast and be allergic, resulting in India being allergic to fascism like Germany. Again, that doesn't count. That's like cheating, because I also say that the good thing about the Islamic Republic of Iran is that they're encouraging people to leave Islam. I'm talking about intentionally. What is something good about them that intentionally is good? So that doesn't count. So Bubbles, we go with Bubbles comment for now. Okay. Cool. Yes. All right, guys. Make sure you come see us if you can in Germany. Come see me and Susanna. Come listen to us speak. Oh, by the way, I will give you a teaser. I think, Susanna, can I tell you what my speech and your speech is like probably going to be focused on?
Talk about your speech because I haven't.
Okay. Can we
I'm
say what
keeping
we
mine close to
discussed
my
at
chest.
okay, mine is probably going to be around you know promoting secularism and atheism in Iran, both from a cultural religious perspective and also from a geopolitical perspective, right? um Susanna, we can't even say like you don't want, like, you want to be mysterious, you want to not even hint. Okay, fine.
I'll tease closer to the event because I haven't really locked in what I want to do yet, so I don't want to say it now
Okay,
and then it'd be
I gave
totally.
her a recommendation, which I think is a really good recommendation, but Susanna, we'll let her decide on it. But it was a good recommendation, I admit. That's
Yes,
what I
yes,
told
yes, yes,
you. Yeah,
yes.
I know. So based on what Susanna is really good at, I gave her a recommendation. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Make sure you like the stream. Do not leave without liking the video. We provided 2.5 hours of streaming for you guys. And I know a lot of people donate, and we appreciate that. But if you can't donate, you can simply just like the video, and that's a lot of support. Like we wouldn't be asking for it if it wasn't very meaningful. It does have
Mhm.
a huge impact. So please, it doesn't cost you even a fraction of a second. So just like the video, okay? It helps our channel grow. So please make sure you do it before you leave, okay? So thank you for that. Anyways, guys, this is it, and we'll see you soon. Oh, my Hinduism streams are coming up next week. I'm gonna start doing streams on Hinduism. And yeah, so looking forward to that.
And I'm
Hindu
doing it. I'm
scripture.
doing a. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm teasing that I'm doing a stream with a patron this week, a special patron.
Nice.
Just the two of us. We're going to be talking about China, Russia, Ukraine, and saving face.
Wait, that's gonna be only for our patrons?
No, no. It's
Yeah.
featuring a patron.
Oh,
Two of
featuring
us.
a patron. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I look forward to that one as well. Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye.